with that being said, Zach, what's up, man? Hey.
I am good. How are you, man?
Hey, what's up, trainers? Lumio's trainer Zach is here.
What's up,
And,
everybody?
and I want to get a cool theme song like he does. That. Didn't you
Bro, all you gotta
change
do is
it?
just. Oh, it's funny. Like that's actually the same song I've been using for years. It's just like a different segment of the
Yeah,
song.
different parts of the song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, New Year, kind of a new vibe I'm trying to go for. Let me
Yeah,
just like it's the same
absolutely.
song, but like a different spin to it. But
Yeah,
thanks for
yeah,
noticing.
yeah. No problem, no problem. So Zach and I both do the reviews of Pokemon Horizons, and so far 10 episodes have passed already. Technically 11. Obviously, we've had 11 episodes pass, and we're going on the 12th episode this week. Zach, I want to start from the very beginning, just with both of us. I'll obviously guest go first. When we first heard that Pokemon was getting a new series that didn't include Ash as the main character at all, like, obviously you got to give your thoughts on that one.
Man, I'm gonna tell you when I. So funny story because I remember I shared this on the Champion League podcast, but I'll share it again here.
Absolutely.
When we first got the news, the reveal of Horizons, I actually didn't know right away because
Right.
I was worried of spoilers. I knew we were probably gonna get a teaser to the new series. It was the last episode of Journeys. I was like, they were kind of oddly quiet, even after the Ash and Leon fight. Like we didn't really hear anything for a while, which is weird. We're like, all right, this is technically the last episode of Journeys before we knew about Aim to be a Pokemon Master.
Uh-huh.
We're like, they gotta drop something, right? So I check my phone and I'm like very
Right.
careful. I go to the Anti-Poke PR Twitter account,
Right.
and I think the very first thing I see, like I scroll down first, so like, and then I see the special episode of what was it, the Distant Blue Sky. And when I saw like the first few seconds, I was like, wait, is this like a reboot? What the heck is going on? I was like, oh wait, it's a special episode. Okay, never mind, cool. And then I scroll up to the next tweet, and that's when I see Aim to be a Pokemon Master.
Right.
The actual Pokemon, and for a second, my heart sank because I was like, oh god, is this Journeys 2? Oh no.
No!
But then I saw, I was like, oh, it's a limited series, 11 episodes or something. I was like, okay, so then there's something
Right.
else after. And then I saw Horizons, and I was like, wait, hold up. Wait, they're just getting rid of Ash completely. I was in shock. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. I mean, obviously, I know the anime has its faults for keeping Ash for so long, but obviously, it's a long-running character. I have my attachment to him, and a lot of other people as well. So, like, just knowing, like, my initial thought was sadness, just like, oh man, like they're actually doing it. He's leaving. But as time went on, and and I kind of like it actually sunk in little by little. I was like, you know what, this might actually be for the better. Do something new, something fresh. I think it was much needed, and like I guess maybe this is kind of skipping on a little bit ahead to our discussion. But
Yeah,
I
no.
think it was for the best.
Yeah. I was completely opposite, Zach. When I saw that there was no Ash on that poster, you know that old Grinch, the Dr. Seuss the Grinch, where he's like he's like smiling and the little things uncurl on top of his
The
head.
big grin.
Yeah, I was like, we won, boys. I love Ash. I want to point that out. I love Ash, but it was his time to go. I'm like, yes, finally, someone else. The whole point of Pokemon to me is that technically anybody can have their own story if they just have a Pokemon. And it always messed up with me that every time we got a Pokemon series that wasn't Ash's, it was always this short series. It was always like this mini OVA or some lackluster thing or whatever the hell Pokemon the Origins was, right? AKA 4 bland episodes that were made to promote Charizard X being in XY. But when we finally got like a legit series with no Ash, I'm like, we fucking won. But then I saw that hair clip on Liko's head, who we didn't know who her name was at the moment, and here came the community. Zach, thoughts on the community, the community, the Ash's daughter community. Who they came in droves too.
Man,
They came in droves.
What I will say is, when I first heard that, I didn't even think about that at first, really.
Right.
But then I saw it. I was like, huh, and like guys got to remember, right? Like, when we first got that teaser of Liko and Roy, it was like this kind of stylized poster. We didn't really get the official look, kind of like the way you're showing it off here. It was like, you know, off to the side there was like this little like orangey tint, like in the sunset or something like that, you know, showing off the horizon. So the colors were a little bit off where you couldn't really even like see Liko's true skin tone, so there was like enough leeway where you could kind of like maybe, you know, like look at the pin. The pin was literally the only thing to go off of, basically.
Right.
Like, I was like, okay, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if it was like Ash's daughter. That'd be cool, but I don't think they do that. But like, people took that really seriously, bro. To this day, people still, they're holding on to that copium, bro. Like, they are inhaling that copium like crazy. They still think, like, we got the episode with Alex, Liko's father.
Yeah.
Really confirming, all right, Ash's father is not, Liko is not Ash's father. And you know what comments I see in my YouTube videos?
Right.
Well, we know Ash isn't the father, but Serena still might be the mom. Like, what do you want, man?
They are holding on to hope hard. I remember the day Alex got revealed too. There were people that were going off. Like, people literally legit saying, like, "Dear TPCI, you ruined everything." And there were some people going, photoshopping Ash's hat onto Alex's
I
head.
saw that one. That was hilarious. I mean, like, I contributed to, like, the madness, you could say, because I made a joke. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm not a big fan of Ash's redesign. And then people were so pissed. Like, some people obviously got the joke and they laughed along with me. But there were others who, like, either they just don't know because maybe they're not, like, up to date with, like, the community stuff. But they were just like, wait, are you serious? Is that actually Ash? Oh, my God. Or you're like, or, like, the other people who, like, don't get the joke at all. They're like, that's not Ash. That's someone else. Like, well, duh, like, that's the joke.
Right. And I like, and when we went into that too, I was, when I found that out, the Alex thing, again, super, I've been pretty much known after XY to be like this anti-hero of the Pokemon community, like this weird super villain, like, oh shit, here comes Tyrone TG3 with his up takes and
you hate everything past XY, man.
I don't. That's the sad part. I don't. The problem is that there's just a lot of things that I didn't gel with, and people defaulted to me hating. And then, real quick for the follows, thank you, Kakula, and also thank you, Handy Jackson John. So when I said those things, everybody, the Sun and Moon community actually lightened up after Sun and Moon ended. I heard, what's up to TyG101? Thank you for the follow as well. The Sun and Moon community actually lightened up. I even had some apology comments in my DMs telling me like, hey, I used to think that you were just saying hot takes because you were just a soulless XY stan. And then they were like, you know what? As time has passed, I'm starting to see some of your points. I'm like, thank you. But then there was the Journeys fans, and they hated me to a degree that was like, that was.
I mean, can you blame them? It's like almost every week you had something negative to say. You had almost nothing to say about people.
And I will admit that I was harsh on that series, but this was the series that said that it wanted to combine everything together. So excuse me if 26 years of my brain thought that Pokemon was supposed to live up to this particular standard. When we got Horizons, I was so relieved because I was like, oh, it felt like like a giant wave of stress just washed off my chest. Because I was like, yes, now we're all on even footing. There's nothing anyone can say to me now. People still said, don't worry. They still came after me. They still.
Of course.
But it wasn't as bad because most of the fans checked out. Now, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about a lot of the fans? Because I've seen the numbers, and TSS was able to pass me the numbers as well as KG before we do the pod. Some of the numbers for Horizons dropped pretty much after, I want to say, episode 3. Why do you think that was the case?
I'm gonna keep it just straight up, and it's kind of sad to say, but like it's also expected. I really think people just stop caring because it's not about Ash. You know what I mean? And it makes sense because I feel like it's kind of the downside of keeping Ash for so long. It's great that we have this fresh start now, but it's like because this man's been the main character for 25 years. Now to finally have that first big shift where we have a new main character, it's gonna rub people the wrong way. And I feel like it's just kind of like an adjustment period. I feel like after a few generations, if Ash still doesn't come back, and we stay with Liko and Roy, which I don't think they're gonna stay past Gen 10. I think we're gonna from now on we're gonna get new protagonists each
every gen. Yeah, they're gonna go the Yu-Gi-Oh route. Yeah.
Yeah, people will start to get used to new protagonists. Let's give them a chance. But it really is just like, I get it. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially if you're like a die-hard Ash Ketchum fan. But I feel like people just need to give it a chance. If you like Pokemon, you'll like Horizons to some degree. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
It's not like we're going from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon to Dragon Ball. It's not a completely different. Yeah. It's in the world of Pokemon. You like the Pokemon games, you like the anime, you're probably gonna like this to some degree.
Right. Now, moving on to, we're gonna get to the meat of it. Moving on to the cast. Now, at this point, we finally got reveals of the cast. I want to ask this one just because obviously you're a part of the team with the champions pod. How did you feel about Roy's design being oddly close to Raph's?
That was so funny, man. Like, I could not believe it. We got this character and it was like, huh. That's eerily similar, especially since he has like the vest as well, which was a new addition that Raph got to like his avatar like last year. And he even has the R, which I get it, R for Roy,
but
it's a weird coincidence. I'm not gonna lie.
Everything weirdly lined up together, and Andy has a fire lizard. That's what Koro just said. Everything was so odd, and I think this was also at the point because you got to remember, Zach. I think after around the time we started our era, because we have an era. I'm sorry to make you sound old, but we have an era in which we were creating content, and then after that, a bunch of people started creating content, Pokemon reviews content. Then after that, more people started doing Pokemon reviews content around Journeys. So they were starting to make their own avatars. Everybody had their own avatars. So it's so weird to me that like this design of Roy just looks like an avatar build from somebody that we've known. Like, for example, Sergi has made pretty much a huge chunk of the community's avatar. Shout out to Sergi, by the way. But yeah, so when we look at Roy, I'm just like you said, I was like, huh. I think Sergi's gonna wind up working in the Pokemon community at some point, just drawing future characters.
What I will say about that too, it's funny because I don't want to be the guy to be like, oh, us content creators have so much influence that we influence the anime and we somehow got in there. But it's like, it like you said, there are the eras. Like you think back, like one of the OG anti-poke, obviously reviewers was Terrell. He didn't have like an avatar. He was just a dude with a webcam back then, right?
Yeah.
And the way content has evolved, people have their avatars and whatnot, and I feel like anti-poke content specifically really hit its boom with Journeys for obvious reasons, because
absolutely
all the callbacks and everything. It was the perfect time to really make content, and that's where like not only like were the already pre-established anti-poke content creators doing well, but there was also that big surge of new creators, which is great. And during that time, Raph really grew in popularity, especially on Twitter. He's probably one of the biggest anti-poke content creators. He's
on
bigger
Twitter.
Than me on Twitter. He
on
has
Twitter,
a lot of influence over there. So it's not too crazy to think that maybe somebody who works there might have seen Raph. I mean, hey, Veronica Taylor follows Raph and even recognized him when he met her at Comic-Con. So you never know. It's not out of the question.
Right. And that's the thing too. I was just about to get into that. With the anime influence by social media, we can see that actually in this series. It's touched to a lighter degree, but I know we're moving a bit ahead here. What did you think about, like, there's certain things about Horizons that really touches on the fact that we are now in the now of Pokemon? Because for as much as I love Ash, there was definitely a lot of stuff in his era that felt very dated. Like, would you imagine Ash having his own username on a social media site? Would you imagine Ash following somebody or watching a stream? Like, are these phrases that seem familiar? Because not to me, but when I hear Liko do it, I'm like, huh, that's right. They can do that in this world. They can do online classes and stuff.
That makes it feel so real. Like, especially online classes. Like, that's a very, very new thing. Like, that is a post-pandemic thing. Mm-hmm. So, like, to see that in the anime is pretty cool. Like, and if you even, like, looking back, right, I agree with what you say. Like, the Ash era of the anime, things felt very dated, even to the point where we got to the beginning of Journeys, where Ash got his first smartphone. It felt weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird saying Ash with the phone. And it just goes to show, like, because obviously original Pokemon anime started in the 90s, so I feel like a lot of its groundwork and the foundation of how the world kind of works is revolved around how they started, and little by little they do like little advancements, like, oh, you know, now people have flat screen TVs and they have HD TV, like that's like little things, but now like it feels like we're in a very like
we've come a long
way, world, very internet driven, kind of like real life, which is really cool. I feel like it kind of adds a little bit more relatability to the world itself. It isn't just this fantasy world, which I think that's always been cool about Pokemon and sets it apart from other fantasy series. Like, yeah, it's a fantasy world with like these fantasy creatures, but it's also like based off of like a lot of real life stuff. It's like these real life cities, and there's like video games, and it's like real life culture in it, you know? So I feel like it's a nice way to tie it into like the current era that we live in.
We've come a long way from the Bellsprout phone, is what I'm saying.
Yes, of course.
Ring, 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 phone call, phone call. And the Pidgey alarm. We've come a long, long way. And I'm mixed on that in some degrees, because while in some, yes, it brings the level of reality to it. But I like when Pokemon got creative and made like random Pokemerch that was like technology. You got the Bellsprout phone, the Pidgey alarm clock.
The Voltorb, clock that
yeah. Somebody said the Dodrio rooster. It just like it's a give or take, and honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. Now, getting into just the meat of it, because obviously, as we've gone in now, I would like to say there's about 2 major arcs that have passed so far, and now we're officially entering the I guess we're entering the Rayquaza arc, the Black Rayquaza arc. But in the beginning, we had the Liko arc, which was 3 episodes, and then the Roy arc, which was 3 episodes. 3 for each character, right? When we go into the Liko arc and the pendant stuff, that was your first impression of the show. That was everybody's first impression of the show. What did you think just specifically of her introduction?
Honestly, I think like Liko's introduction episodes was a really, really strong start to the series, and a great way to kind of, I guess, tease how this series is going to be structured, because already you compare the first 3 episodes to this series to the first 3 of Journeys, it's like, it's almost night and day. Journeys is very episodic, which, you know, that caused a lot of the problems that people have with the series, or a lot of, I guess, the disappointments they have, because they couldn't really do any big story arcs, or there was nothing really tangible. Everything had to be self-contained. But like literally with Liko, just based off of structure alone, the fact that it starts with a 2-parter. The first the debut episode is a part 1 and a part 2, and then after the part 2, the story still continues. Like, if this was any other series, they probably would have wrapped up like the main, like, you know, the explorer stuff and whatnot, independent. Like, they wrap it up in the first 2, but the fact that even though we got the 2-parter, and then it's like, no, the story still continues with Sprigatito now being in the hands of Amethio and the crew, is really, really cool. And even not even just like the structure of the series as well, but even like just Liko as a character, and even like the world itself, it just feels very different, which I appreciate. I know we're gonna talk about Roy soon.
Yeah,
Roy definitely feels a bit more like a traditional Pokemon character, and I
absolutely.
I like that, because it's like a way of like kind of bridging the gap between the older audience who might be just used to the older way, but he's also, even though he's the dual protagonist, he's kind of a secondary character. Like, Liko's really the main character, which is great, and she's very different from Ash, from her attitude, the way she talks, the way she thinks. I love how like introverted she is, and how she's always talking to herself in her head and overthinking things, and it was perfect the way they set up, I feel like, her and the relationship with the Sprigatito, and like trying to figure it out because she doesn't know what it's thinking, but like also the little funny thing about how, oh, that's how people see her. They don't know what she's thinking because she doesn't really express herself really well. And I feel like that's a great way to like differentiate it. They could have easily just made Liko another Ash, the same, basic shonen protagonist. I love to battle. I'm friendly, and we can do anything with the power of friendship type of character. But it's like they really went with something different.
Have Sprigatito jump in front of a bunch of what's the damn Wattrel, and a lightning bolt hits it. I don't know why that still matches up, and it uses like the strongest leafage move ever.
Yeah.
But I agree. I really like the dynamic between Liko and Sprigatito at the very beginning. I love that Sprigatito acts like a legit cat. That's one of the things Cosmic says she loves the most.
Oh yeah, like I feel
about
like out
it.
of all the cats we've seen in the anime, this is like Sprigatito. I don't know whoever made this.
She caught a real cat.
They have a real cat. Like little details, like when Sprigatito like gets scared, it freaks out, it jumps, and all its hair stands, and it's just like spazzing out everywhere, or like just the way it uses its paws and jumps around, and like its behaviors and like its like sassiness. It's like a real cat. That's so cool. I like that.
Yeah, and it fits because like while it's wandering around doing whatever it wants, Liko's journey is to try to figure things out. The hardest way to figure out the world of Pokemon is have your first Pokemon be a cat. But people can't even figure out their cats in real life. You think she's gonna crack this mystery down? But it's nice. It's nice to see that. I like the episode. My criticism, I wish she had stayed at the school a little bit longer. I love, like, this was all new. Everything was all new. So she was getting introduced to so much. Her relationship with her friend Anne, which their sisterhood was great. I just wanted it to last a wee bit longer, and then we could have hopped into the danger stuff. That way I feel a little bit more attached when she leaves. Because then it feels like a more personal decision. Like, oh, I'm leaving the school, even though I've gained all this understanding of Pokemon. Sadly, shit hits the fan at like episode 2. And I like the Explorers. We'll go into them later, but for now, as far as Liko and Spriggs is concerned, I think their character was really good. Obviously Freed gets introduced too. What did you think of him, Captain Pikachu, and his battle with Charizard and Ceruledge? That whole conflict. I thought it was great.
Man, Freed is the GOAT, bro. He is that dude. He's so cool. And I mean, a lot of people say this. I believe this as well to some degree. Freed really feels like what an older Ash Ketchum would be, but like they're too scared to age up Ash, so they're like, this is your nice substitute, which I feel like adds a little bit of sense of familiarity. Obviously, he has the Pikachu, he has a Charizard, he has a very like Ash attitude, but obviously like a grown-up version of Ash.
Right.
But he's still his own character as well. Like I like his whole thing of like, this man just he's always just charging in head first and ain't really thinking of a plan. Like he's pretty skillful, but he doesn't really think about the consequences. Like the whole thing of like, all right, I'm gonna get Liko, but I'm not gonna tell her why I'm getting her. I was like, oh, this is what I need to do. Let's do it, type of thing.
You committed borderline kidnapping to a terrorist organization to grab a little girl without her consent.
Yeah.
Look, her mom told me to do it, okay? That's not the point. That's not the point. You want to know, like, I want that meme, too, where it's like they show Professor Juniper or whatever. I'm picking Juniper because she's the only one I can think of, where she goes, I'm the cool professor, and then it goes to the actual cool professor, and it's Freed battling against Amethio.
Yeah. Oh, that's something else as well. Like, just like, the animation and just the choreography.
They started off really hard with the animation.
It's insane.
If you notice, my favorite one, I don't know why, this very little frame is my favorite frame. Pikachu goes in to use Volt Tackle, and Freed moves his leg out of the way. That is beautiful to me, just because it lets you know, oh yeah, that's right, trainers can get hurt in these things. I forgot.
Like the little details in the battles, like they don't feel as stiff anymore. Which is really good. Like even like I feel like the battles are a lot more dynamic, and it's like that kind of trainer and Pokemon relationship where like it feels like the trainers are participating as well. Like they're not just telling their Pokemon what to do. Like when Freed dodges a Psycho Cut, which hits Liko, and that's what activates the pendant to like you said, the Volt Tackle and the leg move, or even like when Liko and Roy are fighting against Amethio and they're both running with their Pokemon like around Ceruledge. That's so cool, man. Like, if you're
familiar with the Pokemon Adventures manga, that's what it feels like to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. It's not to the same degree.
No. Having
their Pokemon hit each other, but it's a little flavor of it, which
it's definitely the trainers are a bit more involved, and we've had Pokemon battles like that in the other series, in the Ash series, but they were very far and in between. Where this one kind of hits it directly to let you know, oh yeah, anybody can get hit in these battles. You can move while you're in the battle. I believe that was the episode where Freed and Amethio fight again. Only this time it's in a warehouse, and Amethio and Ceruledge fight Pikachu, and Freed and Pikachu go up to the roof. Like they transfer the battle up to the roof.
So cool.
Yeah, so they can move while the battle's happening, and I thought that was a really cool detail as well too. So far, I'm hoping battles stay like that. Now, a lot of people, and I guess you've probably seen these comments too, have noticed that when Roy and Liko got into their battles, they start getting into their battles, the animation is sort of dropped. I have two conclusions on that, but I want to see your thoughts on it first.
I think like it's plain and simple. I feel like that's when it happens like that with animation. They want to save the best animation for the more important stuff, like the Liko and Roy training fights and stuff like that. I feel like that doesn't need to be anything crazy, especially since they're beginners. They're just learning. They're not gonna be pulling out some crazy moves. And it was a Freed battle. That's when they want to pull out all the stops. That's fine. It's like a sacrifice that needs to be made, especially when like this is like a weekly anime. And, you know, they're like the anime staff. We know this. I mean, but for those who don't, who are watching, like the animators are overworked tremendously, and they always have to meet deadlines. So it's like those sacrifices are always made. It's like. Usually, like if you compare obviously Pokemon, which is a weekly series, to like something like I don't know, Demon Slayer, that's something recent, right? That's like a seasonal anime. They have time where they can work on these episodes, and they come out in batches, and then they take a break for like half a year to make the next batch of episodes good. But Pokemon doesn't really have that luxury, so it's more of a strategic thing where they want like. We said the first episode, especially when we saw Freed's battle, that's if you're gonna put your best animation in your first episode, that's the way to do it. That's how you get people hooked. You know what I mean? You're not gonna like save it, like put your best fight into like Liko versus Roy in episode 5. If episode 1 ain't hooking you, bro, then it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean? So I don't really have a problem with it, but what's your take, man?
I deduced two things, and then you kind of touched them already. The first one is obviously money and production time. The second one is, I would like to believe that Spriggs and Fuecoco are very, like, they're babies. They're very weak Pokemon.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna, like, the only reason that Spriggs has been having some really strong leafage attacks in the past was probably because they were crisis moments. And in crisis moments, I want to imagine, like, Liko's pendant probably low-key activates, and either that or Overgrow, the ability Overgrow kicks in, and just makes it stronger. But in normal fights where they're just fighting under normal no-stake battles, then they're going to be fighting at standard level. We can already see Spriggs has been getting better because she learned Quick Attack, and Fuecoco learned Stomping Tantrum, like, the episode after? So the Pokemon have been getting progressively stronger. We're definitely starting to see their battle styles a little bit better now that they've, they trained with Captain Pikachu in the Pikachu Murders 2 Baby Pokemon episode. I mean, training Captain Pikachu, that's what it's called, right? Notice Pikachu never attacked them, by the way. I want to point that out.
He did not, and he still bothered them.
Never physically attacked them, still proceeded to kill 2 babies while doing nothing. But yeah, they've done, at this point, they're just getting their footing. And I think as they're getting their footing, they're going to get better as time passes. Moving on from Spriggs and Liko to Roy and Fuecoco's arc, which was 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6. What did you think of Roy now that we actually had 3 episodes to really tackle his character?
All right, Roy. I really like Roy so far, and especially his introduction episode. I will say, I don't know, maybe it's me. It's a me thing. It's a nitpicky thing. Yeah. I enjoyed the episodes on their own, but I feel like I don't think it should have been 3 episodes. Like, I get maybe they were trying to do the whole, all right, Liko got 3.
Yeah, they were doing a symmetry situation. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like they kind of stretched it out a bit. Like, I feel like the second episode of that arc, it's like when you really think about it, nothing really happens. It's kind of just like the more build up to Roy and Fuecoco's relationship, and then we get the Explorers battle, but that continues in the next episode. I feel like they could have just as easily just squeezed in a bit more of the Roy and Fuecoco stuff in the first one, really focus on the Explorers and Rayquaza stuff in the second one, and wrap it up there. But like either way, I still enjoyed it. But definitely not as strong as I feel like Liko's introduction, and especially since this feels like a very more traditional type of Pokemon character introduction.
Absolutely.
Like, I like it feels more like he feels more Ash-like, more Go-like, more Dawn-like in their introductions. But and even it takes him a while to like, because Liko got Sprigatito episode 1. And
Right.
then it's like them working out their relationship after meeting each other. They're stuck with each other. All right, now how we're gonna make this relationship work? Well, and I get what they did here, where it's like, you know, they spend a lot of time together, and Freed even makes the point in the episode. It's like, all right, you want Fuecoco to be your partner, but how does he feel? Like, you have to make sure he wants you to be your partner as well. I like that, but I just feel like it kind of lasted a little bit too long. But
right.
Even either way, it's still. I think it worked out really well. They established his goals and everything with the Pokeball and everything, and I like the whole detail. This adds on to like his character and how he reacts to things in later episodes. But like the fact that he's basically spent his whole life on this small island seeing cancel Pokemon, that anything he sees outside the island, he's freaking out. Like I think what is it, episode 7? No, 8, 7 or 8. The one where they have to go and run some errands or something, and then that's small town.
Oh, that's my favorite episode. Yeah, I love that one.
And he's just like freaking out. He's like, "Oh my god!" It was like, "It's his first time in a city."
Yeah,
so, like that was pretty cool. Nice little detail. But yeah, I like Roy, and I'm excited to see where they go with him. And I like his goal of like, you know, searching for Rayquaza, not just searching for Rayquaza, but just, you know, trying to search for treasures and legendary Pokemon. Be like a treasure adventurer type of dude, like he heard from the stories of his grandfather.
Right. For me, again, just going off, and I know I'm repeating here on. Roy is definitely more of the traditional, but I think what it is here is that Roy is pretty much a lot of the stuff that Liko, whatever Liko's missing, Roy kind of has covered, and vice versa. That's probably why they viewed these two as a pair, because they're supposed to. It almost, I said this a long time ago in the Pokepod. It feels like what they did. And this is going to sound obscure as hell, but way back in the anime Death Note, L is a character that was Light's foil. Later in the series, and spoilers for a series that happened like years ago, L dies, but in his place is Mellow and Nier. Now, Mellow and Nier both have traits of L, but they're not together. Nier has L's like sitting around, very quiet, introvert, playing with puzzles traits, while Mellow has L's like straightforward, aggressive, eating chocolate, and critical thinking skills. Combined, they would be just like L. Separate, they're two different characters. And I feel like that's what they did here with Ash. They killed Ash, then split him into two different characters. Liko is Ash's analytical half that thinks of strategies and battles, while Roy is his head first rush into shit half.
Oh wow. That's actually a pretty funny way to put it, but you're not wrong. You're not entirely wrong. I agree. I can see the similarities, especially when it comes to the Roy side. Like he just feels like there's the joke literally like in the Nimona episode where it's like Liko says, "Oh, Brassius is in a slump," and Roy's like, "Slump? Is that a Pokemon?" It's like that's such an Ash thing to say. Or even like Liko's like Liko's very smart, but then she has like that weird dumb. The only thing that makes her look dumb is the way she can't connect that dot is needle thing, and it's like that's such an Ash thing. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh, like how Ash can't figure out that Sabrina's father.
That joke is weirdly out of character for her. I
don't like that.
I don't know why they're doing it. I guess because like her whole arc now is to she's got two arcs. One finding out about her pendant, and the other one is befriending Dot. That's been her little personal arc, is I'm gonna befriend this girl, god darn it, whether she wants to or not. But now she can't put these pieces together, and it weirds me out because Liko's been very analytical up to this point. She's super smart. Like even in Roy's battle against Brassius, she's able to pick up what's going on really quickly. She's the first one to figure out Pikachu's double team works in zigzags. She's the first one to figure out how to do the plan in order to get Sprigatito back from the explorers. So it weirds me out that she has those like odd, dumb moments.
Yeah, it feels like I get it. That's like the point of the joke to be,
yeah,
like, you know, a running thing like, oh, you know, it's so obvious, but she's not gonna figure it out, haha. But it's like I feel like that goes against her character because they built her up to be this very analytical person who thinks a lot and comes up with solutions. For her to not come up with like the most obvious thing, it's like, come on now,
right?
Or whatever. It's not a big deal. It's like a little thing. It's more of a nitpick, but it's like, okay. I just hope it doesn't go on for like 20, 30 episodes.
I think it hits more, though, when you consider the fact that this is the same girl that writes down Sprigatito's behavior every day. So you would think if you have any curiosity about something, you would, I don't know, write it down. But she hasn't. She's observed it and then made wild conclusions based off of the smallest clues. Now, I will say I am liking her more mischievous sides coming out, too. Like, for example, in that episode, Roy tells Liko that there's some snacks in the cupboard. So she goes off to go look for the snacks in the cupboard only to get, like, sprayed by a bunch of cream, by owl cream. And then when I think it was, who was the chef's name? Marlo? Murdoch. Murdoch goes, yo, what's wrong? She's like, nothing. she just lies. Nothing.
No, it's funny because, like, immediately after she opens that, he calls her and she's like, oh, man, I'm busted. She's like, I'm sorry. He's like, what? I was just calling to tell you that there's some food left over if you want. She's like, oh, okay.
Thank you. And nothing more to add. Boop. Ooh, I gotta stop lying. Like, but, I'm liking that a lot more. And going back to Roy, I do like that he is traditional just because I feel like the series needs both of them in order to work this dynamic out. But, unfortunately that does make him the weaker half. Like, to me, I don't know about you, maybe to me, that makes him the weaker of the two by a long shot. Liko is just so different. When you think of like a main character for Pokemon, you don't think Liko. I think the closest we've ever gotten to her would be May when she started.
Yeah.
May was like, I don't even like Pokemon. They promised me a free trip, so trip around Hoenn, couldn't pass that up. Oh, Torchic used Ember, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, check out my vlog. Because that's what she was doing. She was doing maze expeditions first.
Yeah.
But, I think that's the closest we've ever gotten. And even she was a bit more, like, outlandish than Liko is. Liko's the type of girl that'll knock on the door and you tell her to come in and then she'll still say sorry because she asked for permission. She's such a softie.
It's funny because, like, she definitely, like, considering the position she's in with the pendant and the fact that she has to fight the explorers, and it's a pretty, like, a serious situation. It ain't just like, oh, I'm doing gym battles. Like, no, these people are trying to kidnap me, right?
Right, yeah.
So, like, she seems like the person you least expect to be in this position because of how, like, shy she is, how reserved she is. But I think that comes with her arc. That's part of the beauty of her arc, of like her trying to like figure herself out and gain more confidence. And I even like the little things of her like getting better at battling. Like in the beginning, she couldn't even beat an Oshawott with the grass type, right? But like now she's like, you know, holding her own against Roy and is analyzing battles when Roy's battling Brassies and stuff like that. So it's I like that growth and development as opposed to starting as like a Roy character who just, I love Pokemon, I love battling, everything that has to do with Pokemon, and like you know, we've seen it time and time again. So like I like this difference. Like, Roy, it's a more realistic. Less anime, you know.
Roy really loves Fuecoco and stuff, but he loves him almost on sight, which we get it. I love Pokemon and stuff, but it's a very generically starting off plot where if you look at Liko's plot for more than a second, you'll realize how ridiculous it got. But it's to a good ridiculous. It's something that you can tell others about and be like, wait, what? Like, Liko, literally, at one point in her life, some terrorists were knocking on the door outside of the airship going, open up, we know you got that pendant. Look, today just started because I wanted to figure out why my cat was climbing on roofs. Like that's how her whole, it went from that to this. And you gotta ask how. Like, if anybody made an abridged series, that's where you would start it off, right there. Yep, that's me, hiding from a terrorist group that's trying to kill me and kidnap my cat. You probably wonder how this started. Well, I decided to join a school. So it's more to talk about. It definitely gives you more to talk about. So I will say, though, I do like how they made up for Roy's lost time by having him travel with Freed for that one episode and battle that Spearow. I like that. because Roy needed some experience to make up for the fact that technically Liko has more. They're gonna even him out at some point, probably. I'm guessing. Although I think Roy's had more fights now because of that gym leader thing.
Yeah, and I feel like it seems like like Roy is gonna be the more battle heavy person because like there's the whole thing with he did the gym battle, which maybe he might do more in the future, and also like when they say goodbye to Nimona in episode 11, Nimona says to Roy, "Hey Roy, if we meet again, let's battle again." She doesn't say it to Liko and Roy. It's to Roy specifically. So it seems like Roy is gonna be the more battle heavy one, and maybe Liko is the more, I don't know, she's gonna be battling the explorers the whole time, so she doesn't have time for gym battles.
Yeah, or she'll be the one that like discovers things, makes draws conclusions, helps the team to where they need to go, stuff like that. Speaking of Nimona, it kind of weirded me out. Nimona challenged both of them to a battle during her debut, and they both declined. And my brain can't wrap around the idea that Nimona went, okay. Like, no! You harassed us in the games! You're supposed to harass them too! Like, this is unacceptable. They don't have a choice.
There's no time, bro. We gotta get to the clock.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, sharing her episode with Brassius was muddy to me. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they shared the same episode. I think they should have split them up. Because...
I really like the episode.
Oh, it's a good episode.
I feel like Nimona probably should have got her own episode.
Yeah. And she's in the episode after, but she's just like, all right, y'all, peace.
That was extra. Like, if she wasn't in the episode, that wouldn't change anything.
Why do you gotta leave? They can't afford to animate me anymore. Bye.
Thanks.
Plus, this is a Molly episode. I guess that transitions us into the Rising Volt Tacklers. Just all of them. Well, we'll go through all of them at this point because technically only one of them has had their own episode at this point. The rest, we haven't really gotten episodes out of them except for maybe Dot. So, what do you think of the Rising Volt Tackler? What do you think of the fact that this is a Pokemon crew now?
I like it. The crew is very colorful, figuratively.
We love Pokemon One Piece.
Yeah. That's basically it, right? I haven't watched One Piece, but I know there's a crew and everything.
Yeah.
But I like how every person, like, except for Ludlow, I guess, but I don't know.
We don't know what he does yet, yeah.
Ludlow is just Ludlow. There's always that one guy. He's just there. We don't know why, but he's just there.
What if Free just snapped? You show some respect. He founded the Rising Volt Tacklers back in 1885.
Like, I like how every person has a role specifically. Like, obviously, Freed is the leader. Captain Pikachu is the captain. Murdoch's the cook. Orla's the engineer. Molly deals with the healing and the medicine. Dot is like the tech person who made the app and stuff like that. Like it's cool. It feels like everyone has a purpose. This isn't just like not to like shit on Sun and Moon because I love Sun and Moon, but that was like a series you could say that had a big crew, right? But it was like these are just a bunch of characters and they were all in the school, and that makes sense for the school setting. But like if you replace some of the characters or some of them weren't there, it wouldn't, like, obviously the dynamic would change, but it doesn't feel like they had a true purpose other than these are just classmates, like just to show that there's a lot of students here.
Right.
As opposed to the Rising Volt Tacklers, it's like, no, they all serve a purpose and they all play a part in this team. And even now with like Liko and Roy, like Liko's in charge of the observatory now, so it's like she has a role here and she helps with like the Pokemon and the day-to-day and the laundry stuff. So like I really like that. And my worry first finding out, like when we got the teasers, we got obviously the after a while we heard radio silence after hearing about Ash leaving, and then we finally got the teasers of Liko and Roy, and then we got Freed and Captain Pikachu. It was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, I like this guy. And Captain Pikachu, of course, they got to keep the mascot somewhere.
Yeah.
And after that, the week after, that's what we got. Oh, this is a whole crew. That's when we got the rest of the Rising Volt Tacklers. And it was like, my word was just like, I hope that these aren't just characters just to fill space. I hope they actually do something, because like a complaint that I have with Sun and Moon, at least in the beginning, it's like there was a bunch of characters, but because there were so many, they kind of had a hard time developing them all. And they did get their development in the end, and I like how they eventually handled them. But in the beginning, you can admit it's like a lot of the time they're just there. And I was worried that the Rising Volt Tacklers were gonna be that, but like no, they all have their own personalities. They all stand out. I love how the Dot episode, even though it's Dot focused, there's a subplot of like Murdoch is like he's trying to help her, come out a bit and trying to give her the sweets and the donuts, and like the Molly episode is a perfect example. She got her own episode. Or even like when they were trying to fix the ship, and then like Orla's trying to deal with that shit, and like when they were escaping the explorers and they were trying to like get shit going in the engine room and Charizard had to help in. It's like I like that everyone is doing something.
Yes,
they're all relevant to some degree. And then there's Ludlow.
Watch, we're gonna see Ludlow whip out a legendary Pokemon, and we're all gonna shut the fuck up immediately.
He's gonna fish out a Kyogre one of these.
Yeah. To me, I like the idea of the crew, but it didn't feel like they were like. I think the only time I really liked the crew mainly was during Liko's arc. But during Roy's arc, they fell kind of backwards to me, just because they seemed weirdly incompetent during Roy's arc, during Roy's 3 episodes. But then they jumped back on episode 7. In episode 1, when they're like in the store hanging out and they're in town, I was like, yes, good, they made a comeback. I especially love when, honestly, them arguing over the treats, over the sweets. And the shit, that could have been the whole episode to me, and I would have watched it. I would have been there for it. The girls getting mad at the guys because they're like, we think you're lying. And Free's like, no, Pikachu said where it said it. And Pikachu's like, yeah, you made that up. And normally it's in reverse. Normally in anime, the girls are the ones that like the sweets. So it feels refreshing that these, like, Orla and Molly are snapping on these 2 grown men for the lack of sweets that are on the ship, and I love that. And Liko and Roy are just watching. They're like, what do we get into? What is this? Like, I love that level of banter. This is the type of stuff I was looking for when I wanted to see a crew. So I'm glad we got to see that, and I'm glad that we got. My one thing, I wish that episode had divvied up everybody in the city and was like, oh, Murdoch and Molly are shopping for something. Or, oh, we see Orla probably obsessed with some item, but she can't get it. Or they got a bid for it. And there's like a huge bid and to fit in line with the Scarlet and Violet stuff. Maybe in the future. But yeah, like I love stuff like that. I love interactions like that. People think, in the community it was like, oh, Tyrone, you like XY, so automatically if it's not a battle, then it's worthless. No, I love stuff like this because it makes battles feel better. Because I like battling with a colorful character versus a character that I don't give a damn about. Because then that's just fireworks. So when I saw like the characters interacting with each other like this, I'm just like, this is good. This is what we need. That, and in addition to the ending theme with the Rising Voltacklers rap with each member rapping, that's good. Nice
little touch.
It's a nice touch. The opening shows Dot now because she was like an official member of the crew. The fact that technically she's the one that made the app and she streams, but that's her own thing. Yeah, everybody having a purpose, and their Pokemon reflecting that too. There was some Pokemon I really stopped and I was like, why are you on her team? Oh, you're on her team because if somebody died. Like, I was like, why is Palmy on Molly's team? Oh, yeah, that's right. If somebody dies, it can use the defibrillators and pump their heart back in a queue. Okay, got it. I see why you're here now. And then I was like, why is Muck on your team? Oh, because of poisons. Duh.
Yo, I love that detail because it's like, obviously, I was a little worried as well hearing the premise. It's like, oh, they're traveling around the regions. I'm like, this kind of sounds like Journeys. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I like the touch of like this whole crew, and they gathered Pokemon that have just got drawn to them through their travels in different regions, and they all relate to the people that they are with. Like Rockruff can smell, which is why who's with Murdoch, or Alchemy, which is an obvious one. And he said the Mug, and then even like little things like the nose pass that's on the ship with Free. We don't see him, but it's just the fact, like, I love that detail.
He's the compass, yeah.
Here, and he was like, nose pass, which way is north? He points north. He's like, all right, thanks. I was like, that's it's such a cool little detail. Or even like the Elekid and the what is it, the Slugma?
Yeah.
With Orla. Like, oh, it's so cool. Like it's like occupational Pokemon. They all fit with the job that everyone has, and Ludlow doesn't do anything, which is why he doesn't have a Pokemon.
I think he has I want to say he has the Noctowl, probably. We haven't confirmed that Noctowl belongs to anybody yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, like, because there are some Pokemon that are there, but they're just like wild Pokemon. They don't belong to anyone, like Fuecoco. I think like Noctowl and There was a couple of other ones, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his. I think it's just like I think they tried to do that whole thing, the bait and switch, have Quaxley be around him the most to make
Yeah.
Needle thing. But now that we know, obviously Quaxley belongs to Dot, it's like I don't think he really has anyone. At least yet.
At least yet.
I'm really interested to see what he does. He doesn't bother me, but it's just like he really is just
the writers put him in the show, so he's obviously got to have some major purpose.
He's gonna do something, bro. He's the leader of the freaking of the explorers, bro. He's what's his name, Gibeon. Can you imagine?
Oh, that'd be messed up. Yeah, and I guess that leads to our next group. Actually, that's a perfect transition to get into the explorers. Actually, what's weird, we haven't seen the explorers in a while, in a bit. It's been a while. And you know what? Yeah, I was gonna say it makes their presence seem more dangerous when they show up. But first impressions on the Explorers, and obviously we have their major debut, which is episode 2 to go off of.
So when it comes to like the Explorers debut, when we first found out about them, when we got the teaser, everyone and their mom was like, "Oh, this is Team Rocket 2.0." It's like Team Rocket a bit more serious, and they kind of came across that way. It was like they're a trio. And they're going after Liko, whatever. They seem like antagonists, but I like how they're an actual threat. Like it feels like it, and I love the little subversion because I don't know about you, Tyrone, but like when I thought the Explorers were literally just what's her name? Her name escapes me. I don't know.
Kania?
Yeah, Kania and the other dude and Amethio. I thought it was just the Explorers was just them 3,
right? But
the cool revelation later on, it's like, oh no, there's like other admins. Like Amethio's just one of 5.
Yeah,
like a big boss. It's like, okay, that's really cool, and I can't wait to see what they do. Like they really have like hinted, okay, that this other guy is gonna, because Amethio failed, this other guy's now gonna go after Liko instead.
Those arcs are gonna slap. I can't wait for those.
It's gonna, and even it seems like Amethio's gonna have his own little arc because it shows like he's like disappointed that he let them down. He wants to prove himself, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go after Rayquaza myself. I don't care if I'm taking off the mission, type of thing. It feels like a little bit like a Zuko arc.
Yeah, I was gonna. You said it before. I was like, it's Prince Zuko. That's Zuko.
If they give him a Zuko arc, that's gonna be so good.
Honor.
But I love it already just because it's like it's a little bit more original. It's obviously, you know, the typical antagonist or protagonist, but like they seem serious, and it feels like they have an actual plan with these guys. They're not just, you know, the bad guys to be the conflict of the week type of thing. Like Team Rocket's like, oh, we need a Pokemon to evolve. All right, let's throw a Team Rocket fight. Oh, we need a Pokemon to learn a new move. Let's throw a Team Rocket. Oh, we don't know what to do this episode. Let's put a fight with Team Rocket type of thing. Like, no, like they came in with the purpose. They were not playing around, bro. They came in, they said, Liko, give me that pendant. She was like, nah. I was like, all right, you die. You know? One thing I will say, it's a little weird. Because I'm saying that they're a threat, but then I feel like they kind of undermine at least Kania, and I don't know this other dude's name.
I don't know which is funny. No, he had one thing that I thought was kind of funny, and you gotta catch it. During the needle thing stream, he actually comes in as one of the callers and is like, yo, my Rhyhorn lost to a freaking Fuecoco. I taught my Rhyhorn rock.
Really?
Yeah, that's him. That's him. And he's like, I taught it. Look, I taught it rock throw like y'all told me. I don't know what and then Needle thinks like, why don't you try teaching it other moves? Oh,
I did not catch that.
You gotta catch it. You gotta catch it.
All right, little details like that shows that they really put some care into this show. That's really cool.
His name is Zur, by the way. His name is Zur.
Zur.
Yeah. All right. The chat said it. Thank you, chat.
Kanya and Zur, like I feel like. I don't know. Sometimes they're a threat. Sometimes they're not, because it's like I like the first interaction that Liko has with Zur.
You want to know what I think it is? Go ahead.
Just got this Sprigatito.
Yeah.
She ain't beating this dude, but she kind of outsmarted by like just blinding his eyes and then using the sweet sense to kind of like mellow him out. That was really smart. But then you get to like the later episode in the Roy arc where like Liko fucking beats Kanya off screen, but then Zer's fucking kicking the whole Rising Volt tackler's ass. It's like,
yeah,
And then Roy can stand up with like his Fuecoco and his Ember. It was a cool moment. I love that moment between Roy and Fuecoco. But it's like, this dude bodied everyone. You just met the Fuecoco who can't use Ember. I feel like they're a little inconsistent.
Yeah, I think
they're like the henchmen.
Yeah,
like Amethio's the true big bad. He's been consistent, which I appreciate. But I feel like they gotta like be more consistent with them, just so like little weird things. Because it's like Liko beats Kanya, but then the next episode she's struggling against Roy and she's battling and she can't even battle. But it's like that's like the only thing. I feel like it's just those two. Like they're not really
the power scaling's the power scaling has gotten kind of wonky at during that arc. I want to say it's because they really wanted to give Liko and Roy spotlight, and the only way they can realistically do that is to have them be competent in battle. But they need the villains to be competent too, so unfortunately they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. One thing I was gonna point out too when it came to that, I want to tell myself I think this dynamic works a lot better than Team Rocket's, just because Connie and Zur are more silly ones, and Amethio is gonna be our serious guy. So now you have a balance. Literally, there can be episodes where Connie and Zur just go off on their own and try to do something, but that's going to be a wacky team thing. Whereas if they all three get together, then they're competent, just specifically because Amethio is a good leader.
The boss is here.
Yeah, pretty much. But obviously, he has some code. He's got honor to him. But we're zoning in on Amethio himself. He's got a lot of honor to him. Even when he gets sprigs, he's like, no, I'm not using this as a bargaining chip to get Liko. I just sort of have the cat.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's here, but that's not what that was. It was an accident.
Right, things just sort of lined up that way. But I do like his level of honor for that, and I like that he's chosen now to like go get the Black Rayquaza on his own. I'm really hoping we get episodes with just him. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to an episode where we get away from Roy and Liko for a bit and focus on Amethio. Kind of like the Mega Evolution episodes in XY. Like, I think that would be a really cool idea, me personally.
Yeah, he's like a character. I feel like he has the most.
He can hold his own. Yeah.
Like even like the little thing, his interaction with the rest of the team, and like obviously there's some animosity between the other admins, and like how he let the leader down. It's like you said, it's like a Zuko thing. He has an honor. He has honor. He has code. He has a code. It's like something that will set him apart. Like at first, it just seemed like, oh, he was like a cool, edgy bad guy, but no, like it feels like there's an actual person here who has actual thoughts. He isn't just a part of the bad guy system. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I feel like there's gonna be something there where like I feels like he's not really a bad guy. He's just kind of like, I don't know. Like he's part of this group, but like he has his own thoughts independent from the group. Like you said,
right.
The Sprigatito thing. And I feel like there was another moment before that as well that kind of hinted as well. I don't remember exactly, but it was just kind of like. I think it was when Kanya and Zur were looking for Liko, and it's like when they're battling, right?
Right.
It's like he doesn't just straight up attack Liko and stuff like that. It's like a Freed shows up and he's like, oh, I have business with her. It's like, well, I do too. It's like, all right, let's settle it with a battle. He could have just as easily been like, fuck you, like. Psycho cut, get out of my way, give me the girl. Like, no, he's like, all right, I want this girl, let's battle for her. Which sounds kind of weird, but you know what I mean. And even when what is it, the episode 6 with the shiny Rayquaza, it's like Amethio's like, all right, we're gonna battle. Like I like his attitude where it's like it's more sportsmanship in a way, you know what I mean?
He's definitely gained a rivalry with Freed at this point. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that too about them. It's like they have that respect for each other. It's like, you know, we're on opposing sides, but you know, you got some skill, man. I respect it.
Clawless said winner gets to kidnap the girl, bruh.
Basically.
No, with the Explorers too. You brought up a good point, Zach, about their characters. I want to see an episode and I feel like Horizons is the series to do it. I want to see an episode where they dig into why he joined the Explorers group. Like, what caused him to join this team? What exactly? Because, I mean, there's still obviously a lot we don't know. Gibeon is literally just some evil Saturday morning in the background villain right now that we don't know because we've heard his voice and nothing else. I hope he doesn't become like a Giovanni, unfortunately. I hope we actually get to see him come out and start kicking some serious ass.
Yeah, he definitely will. But at least for the beginning, I like how they're kind of treating him like they did with Giovanni in like the beginning of Kanto, where it was like you didn't even see his face, he was just a silhouette, and he had like the distorted voice, and he'd command Jesse and James. That was pretty cool. And then he gets the cool face reveal when Ash goes to battle the gym, where he battles Gary. You get his full face reveal. That was pretty cool. Like,
which led into the movie.
Yeah, but like if they do that but actually take him seriously, I'd be really happy, because it makes him seem like this otherworldly presence right now. It's like, oh, you think Amethio's bad? There's this fucking voice from the depths of hell right now telling these guys to attack. It's like, wait till he comes out of his hologram. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that all leads into the pendant and the ancient Pokemon, which I think they deserve their own short segment. MacGuffin items, pendant and ancient Pokeball. We gotten a bit of the taste of the pendant. We've seen, not Terapagos, but it's like de-evolve form show up, like, what, twice at this point?
I think it was just once.
Oh, it showed up once, but it used its attack the second time.
Yeah, it used, like, the shield thing.
The shield thing, yeah. The ancient Pokeball got revealed to be Rayquaza, but if you notice, Rayquaza's got those weird Terra designs on it. It's not terrestrialized, but it has, like, the Terra colorization on top of its already shiny coat.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on these things so far, now that we've gotten kind of a taste of what they are?
Bro, I'm gonna keep it real. I have no idea. But I like this. I like this because they could have easily just, I still would have appreciated a straight up just Paldea series, like translating, not translating, but like, what's the word? Adapting the Scarlet and Violet game content into the anime. That would have been perfectly fine, because I like the Scarlet and Violet story. But I like how they're taking elements from the games, but they're adding their own spin to it, and they have their completely like original story. Like, obviously, probably the pendant and Terapagos. We're gonna find out more about that when we get the DLC.
Right.
But that Pokeball thing, I highly doubt that's related to the games. I think that's like an anime.
We saw another ancient Pokeball recently with
that too.
Arboliva.
Arboliva, yeah. It's like, it's very interesting to see where this is gonna go and what the connection is between them. Like, what is it, Brassius, when they talked to him, he said when he saw the Rayquaza, it flew by like this Arboliva and it glowed as a result, and we know it has the Pokeball. What's the deal with that? And then we know from like this week's episode, I think they're gonna get their hands on that Pokeball, and I think based off the summaries, they said that like Liko's pendant was gonna glow again, so we might see Terapagos again. We're gonna find out something, but like they really have me interested in that. I really like that, and I'm surprised with how much the Rayquaza stuff and the pendant are connected, because when we first got the teaser, like, it seemed like they were just two separate things. Like, Liko has her pendant, Roy has the Pokeball. They're all gonna go on their separate journeys. But like, even from their meeting, the fact that the both like resonate with each other and they glow when they're together, it's like, I'm very intrigued with what story they came up with that connects this all together. And so far they have me interested. I really like that, and the fact that they're going with something completely original. It avoids that predictability that the animes had. Like, regardless of what series, I guess Journeys is the only one that's kind of free from this, but pre-Journeys, Sun and Moon, the OG series OS, it's like, if you play the games, you kind of have an idea what's coming next. Like, if Ash just beat, like, I don't know, Blaine, he's probably gonna go to Giovanni. Granted, he didn't battle Giovanni, but he's gonna get the Earth Badge next, or like XY.
He's got to get the next one.
Yeah, Ash beat like Karina. Oh, guess what? Ramos is probably next. You know what I mean? It's like, it's pretty predictable. Even Sun and Moon, they tried to do the whole unpredictability thing by like being more episodic and being in melee, but it's like Ash did the trials in the order of the games, and then the league happened. It's like, but this, it's like we're in uncharted territory. So it really, like, at least for those who are still watching, it keeps you on your toes to find out what happens next. And I love how plot driven this series is, because every single episode leads perfectly into the next, which is so freaking cool. It's like, it leaves you just enough to be like, all right, you gotta keep watching.
Yeah, I love the chronology order.
If I knew what was gonna happen based off the games, like if they just did Paldea stuff, I could have been like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. I'll just wait till the gym battle comes. But it's like, no, like you don't know what's gonna happen, so you gotta watch, bro.
With the thing about me, I like the pendant, and I'm very interested to see the mystery behind the pendant. The ancient Pokeball lost a few points with me now that I see there's a second one. In my head, I thought Roy had the one. The only one. When I see another, I'm like, oh, they're everywhere now, Roy. Obviously, it's too soon to say that. There's only two. I estimate there might be 6, one for each Pokemon. Obviously.
A full team.
Yeah. But I'm looking at it going like, there's more than one. Roy's ain't special. Like he got the one item that's got a duplicate. Meanwhile, Liko's got the one. Now, if I see somebody else with a pendant, I'm probably going to lose my absolute mind. But she's got the one. So, like, it weirded me out to know that there was a second one. They said Roy collecting the Dragon Balls over here. But I see, like, I was one of the first, actually, during the reaction, when I watched it with KG and the others. I was like, Arboliva's not that big. But I know which Pokemon are that big. Titan Pokemon. It's the video game. I was like, oh, they're doing the video game thing. Just, Arboliva was never a Titan Pokemon.
Yeah. But that's cool because it's like it's not just straight up one of the 5 Titans.
They're not gonna copy it, yeah.
Like it's like, oh, it's a Titan. Like I love that they take the lore from the games. Like Titan Pokemon exist, at least in the games, they exist because they eat the Herba Mystica.
Yeah.
But who's not to say that some other Pokemon could be a Titan as well? Because they very well could be. Just for the purpose of the game, it's those 5 specifically.
Yeah.
So I like that the anime took that approach, and it's like, oh no, there could be other Titans out there. It's kind of like how in Sun and Moon, there were other totems aside from the ones you face in the game. Like there was like a totem Gengars or something like that. So yeah, I really like that touch.
Right, and
if you play the games, if you don't, then hey,
right,
I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. And with that, I noticed they're doing video game beats, but they're doing them very, like you said, independently of the game itself. Now, obviously, Brassius technically is the first gym leader in Bo. Is he, or is it the Bug gym leader?
No, it's the Bug. It's
okay. So yeah, they're doing them out. Okay, so they're doing them out of order. I thought it was weird though that Roy lost, only because like, what happens now? If they decide to take the champions path, does he have to go back and fight them, or what goes on here? Yeah.
But I think like it works, and if anything, he technically did it out of order. But if you really think about it,
that's what they wanted.
The game?
Yeah, Game Freak wanted us to do that. Game Freak's problem is that they didn't level scale. That's their issue. But in reality, that's exactly how they wanted us to do it. They wanted us to do it in any order that we want. They just forgot to put in the part that lets us do it in any order we want. And it went to where the community flat out made a order in which you fight them, which kind of defeated the purpose of what they wanted to do.
They take one step forward and like 5 steps back, but they're trying.
It's Pokemon. It's Pokemon. But that goes in to say, I want to ask this question because this is a very interesting thing to me. I will say, we're almost 12 episodes in now. Do you feel the pacing? Do you feel this has been a fast pacing or a slow burn? What do you feel this is? I'll give my thoughts after you go ahead and give yours.
It's interesting. It's kind of hard to tell because, kind of like we said before, we don't know exactly where they're going.
Right.
So like for all we know, it could take literally the entire series to see Rayquaza again. I don't know. But like at least for like the introduction, I think it's definitely on the slower end, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, because like if you compare it to the last series, Journeys, because of how episodic it was, everything, I feel like so much was happening and so little was happening at the same time.
Right.
If that was even possible, but they made it happen because everything had to be wrapped up in one episode.
Right.
But I feel like this series, people might see it as a bad thing, and I get it. So people say, oh, the series feels kind of slow, but it's like, I see it as the series is giving itself a chance to breathe and like just letting these characters just exist, letting us get to know them instead of just, all right, this is the next plot point, bing bang boom, let's do this. And like if you think about it, I guess you could kind of see, I mean, we technically got a gym battle within the first 12 episodes, That's not that bad. That's pretty good. There's some, I think Diamond and Pearl, it took like 18 episodes for Ash to get his first badge.
Yes, but I need these two to catch a Pokemon.
That's the only problem. They haven't caught a Pokemon yet, but we've got the explorers established a bit.
Yeah.
We got to meet Nimona. We got to meet Brassius. We got our first gym battle. We even got, I guess, if there's going to be more Dragon Ball ancient Pokeball collecting, we've got our second one technically. I don't know. So I feel like they are taking steps to move the story along. It just feels different because it's like no other Pokemon series has tackled it this way. Like we got 3 episodes to establish our main character, and then another 3 to establish the other main character. Then we got a training episode to kind of build up. I like that, as opposed to like, you know, when it came to Journeys, Ghost development was rushed as fuck with fucking Raboot evolving in episode 17. And like little to no development here. It feels so realistic. Like I can believe that these are newbie trainers that are slowly, besides like the fight with like Zur and like Konya, like other than that, I like the training moments, like the little progressions that Liko and Roy is making, like Fuecoco learning Stomping Tantrum and then using it in the following episode. It's like I like this. It feels like the OG series with Ash, where you can see his growth and development from a newbie trainer to like the end where he's got a bit more experience, you know what I mean? So I know it feels different because the past couple of series, or at least I feel like it's just whiplash because Journeys was just doing things too fast sometimes, but I like this. It's a very narrative story driven series, so they want to take their time. If they rush shit, then it's not going to be satisfying. So I feel like it's going to be worth it later on.
I am a firm believer, and you hit it right on the head. I'm a firm believer of burns slow like oak, but ages like wine. That is what I'm saying. Like, I'm making jokes about them catching the Pokemon thing, by the way, but I do see the slow burn. But I think I know the core why they want to fill the story up fully. Where I know if this was an Ash Ketchum series, any of them, with the exception of maybe XY, what they would probably do is if we got all of our stuff so quickly, they would have to fill it up with random Explorer episodes or something. And I'm not talking about just the Explorers. I mean, like, our Pokemon is sad. Oh, it got kidnapped by the Explorers. Oh, the Pokemon used the thing that it can do in the episode, or it evolved. And then it looks like the Explorers are blasting off again. Ding! Our heroes learn to believe in the thing. And
a filler episode where they gotta find the lost baby mouse.
Yeah,
the 4th mouse to complete the group or something.
Right,
shit like
right. That. Or like what's that little pepper Pokemon? Capsakid steals a banana or something. Yeah.
Like I will say really quick, just to add a bit more to your point. Like it feels like every episode so far has a purpose, and my least favorite episode so far, which is contrast your opinions, is the Dot episode. I think that's the one where like Roy goes out and whatever, and he fights the Spearow. Like just compared to the other 11, it's probably my least favorite, but I don't think it's a bad episode at all. And like some people were in the comments saying like, oh, it's just a filler episode. I was like, no,
it's not really a filler episode. They make it to Paldea on that episode. Also, I like that one interaction-wise. I know if it were plot or action-wise, this episode fails. But as an interaction episode, it's my favorite. That's why I like that episode so much, because I get to learn who the people are on the crew. But yeah, going off of that, I'm just glad that we're filling in, because people are going to say that's a slow burn now, but I guarantee this will age a lot better as time passes. Because we're watching it week per week. So it feels like a slog. I mean, you and I have both you've reviewed 3 series up to this point, I believe, right?
No.
Oh, you were 2.5. You did X and Y's like finale part. The League, right? You did the review of the League.
And then I did Sun and Moon. So yeah, you can say like 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. So you reviewed 2.5, and I reviewed XY primarily, and then I'll do I did the Journey reviews during the pod. This stuff ages different when it's over, or at least when time has passed. And honestly, I feel like for good or bad, I can watch every last episode and not feel like I have to go, oh, this episode, skip. Like, there hasn't been an episode where I feel like I can do that effectively. There have been definitely some episodes weaker than others. But I feel like I can watch them all without feeling like I have to move past one. Like they're.
Let me tell you, Tyrone, actually, real quick to interject. I actually like when you told me, hey, we're gonna do a discussion to like talk about our first impressions of the first 10 episodes. I actually went ahead and I was like, let me rewatch all the episodes in just one go, because like you said, I've been doing it week to week, but I haven't watched them like in succession, like one after the other, and it's actually not that bad.
It's not. Yeah,
it goes by pretty fast, and especially like I was saying, the point of like every episode kind of leads into the next. Like it's very seamless, and I feel like even like you said, there are some strong ones, there's some weak ones, but it's like it all works so far. It's just it probably feels slow because you're watching it week to week, and there isn't like a crazy battle or a crazy cameo every other week like Journeys did.
Right. Yeah, and with that going in, I fully believe that I think this series, and obviously I'm speaking way ahead of time, but I think this series is going to be able to stand the test of time easier because of that, though. Because there's a lot of things. Diamond and Pearl has a great conclusion to me. The problem with Diamond and Pearl, and the reason I get so if I ever want to watch Diamond and Pearl over again, is because I know Diamond and Pearl has some episodes like Ash being in the sewer with a bunch of Pokemon that I don't give a shit about. Or Togepi being mean with a banana. I don't care about these episodes, but I know they're a part of Diamond and Pearl. And then when you say just skip it, you're right. I can. But those are huge chunks of episodes. Like Sunny Shore took a year to get to. Just because of nonsense. And looking at that, and I'm just like, oh, no. There's a lot of times where I believe that this series is, while it's getting rocky, it's only because the week per week formula takes a lot out of people, especially when an episode's or when a series is live, when it's hot, when it's happening right then and there. So much is happening. We've got discourse going on every week on Twitter. We've got people going back and forth about their thoughts on the episode and what they expect. Predictions, shippings. Yes, that's a part of this all for some reason. People have already shipped Liko and Roy together, for Christ's sakes. We've got some of those shipments you don't want to look at, by the way. You don't. No. We've got people making theories, like the theory with Molly and the Nurse Joy thing, which Horizon sort of, they spilled the beans, then tried to pick some of the beans back up, then spilled more beans only to pick more beans back up. It was so weird. Because we were all theorizing, like, ooh, Molly was, she's got all these healing Pokemon. She looks familiar. Is she a Nurse Joy that, like, denied being a Nurse Joy? We cut to episode 11. I used to be a Nurse Joy. God damn it, no! Why would you give us all of that? No! It's supposed to be a gradual situation.
You know what's funny about that, too? Literally in the beginning of the episode, like,
you
get the hints of, like, oh, maybe she had a falling out with her family. She's not on the best terms with them. And then, like, when she's talking to Liko about like her family and stuff, she's like, oh, you know, I come from like a not even before that. She said that like her family wanted her to do one thing, she chose something else. But I'll reveal it in a different time. I like why I don't want to be a doctor like them. Literally like 5 minutes later when she's treating the fucking Wooper. And I left the Pokemon Center because I wanted to treat wild Pokemon. It's like, okay, thanks.
Now
there's something later on.
Now there's two ways I can come at this. One, this show is demographic towards kids. This is a kid show at heart. This is a kid show at its prime. And kids aren't probably going to connect the dots as fast as we are. I'm going to go ahead and go on a leap here and say that was probably why they made it a bit more obvious. But a good series, regardless of if it's for kids or adults, can always find a way to play with the plot enough to where when we figure out those things, it's an awe-shocker for every age. Avatar: The Last Airbender did that stuff on a constant basis. Show was for kids, but it definitely was playing around with, okay, we'll hold this off. We'll do this. Okay, we got the blue spirits thing. We won't make it too obvious that it's Zuko, but we're going to hint that it's Zuko. And like they did that before, and that was for all ages. Gravity Falls is notorious for it, as Koro just pointed out there. But then when they give us the thing, I'm like, she goes, I couldn't sit around waiting to heal Pokemon. I'm like, you're talking about Nurse Joy. It's not even a secret anymore. You're talking about that's a Nurse Joy's job. That's all she does. She eats, breathes, and does what you just said.
Man, and there's even the fact, like you said, Tyrone, adding on to that, it's like, it would have been cool, like, to plant the seeds little by little. When we get the revelation later on, it's more rewarding, because there's the scene in episode, what is it, 4?
Yeah.
I don't know. The one where, like, Liko, no, it's episode 3.
3, yeah, because Spriggs got kidnapped.
Molly's like, hey, I need your help. Can you get stuff at the Pokemon Center? And she's like, why can't you just go? And then she just, like, pushes her, and she just smiles. She's just like, just go. Just go. And then literally when we get the revelation, when Molly talks, then they literally just insert the flashback. I'm like, you didn't have to do that. Like, you're just making it so obvious. Like, I think it would be cool to have the little things, and then we connected ourselves instead of literally just showing us. It's like, oh, look, you remember this? That's why we did this. That's why we did it, guys. It was a hint.
I want her to go into a Pokemon Center one day and one of the Nurse Joy snaps. Well, look what the cat coughed up. Still trying to heal Pokemon abroad? Boo. I know that'll never happen. I just like unnecessary drama in my Pokemon series.
The Nurse Joys are like, fuck them wild Pokemons.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Molly revealing that definitely made me think about that for a second. Wow, Nurse Joy's really ain't shit. Fuck that. I need a picture on Twitter of somebody gonna find when Nurse Joy gonna fuck them wild Pokemon.
Bro, it's like that Nurse Joy from Johto, that one episode
that
she looks up to and she hates water Pokemon. It's like, fuck water Pokemon.
Yeah, but that's crazy though. And honestly though, but that's the type of thing I like the most about this series though, is the world. The world is still Pokemon. It's the world of Pokemon. But I feel like I'm learning a lot more here. Like, Liko picks up potions and stuff at the Pokemon Center. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because the center sells that stuff, and they're like a pharmacy. I get it. Oh, that makes perfect sense to me. I get that. Or how, like, shops and things work, how they have a streaming service. I like, to me, one of the most realistic moments is Liko losing her battle and then going on YouTube to figure out how to win a Pokemon battle.
Like, fuck, I can imagine her just typing, how to win a Pokemon battle.
I'm straight trash. I lost to a water type, so I have a grass type. Ah, yeah, that's bad. So what you're gonna want to do is...
There's even like this little moment that I appreciated. Like, it literally, they didn't have to be there, but it's like you said, more world building when they're like, when they're going out shopping, and then like Orla's like, hey guys, don't go on a crazy spending spree. We're on a budget. And and then there's a subplot of like they get scammed and shit. And this even applies to like was it in the episode 3 where like, all right, before we find Sprigatito, we gotta buy some shit. And then they were like, Freed mentions how like, oh, they're making money off the fact that like they got the mission from Liko's parents to bring her home. It's like, yeah, they're fun explorers, but they gotta make money somehow. You know what I mean? It's like pretty realistic. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad it's addressed instead of like Journeys where Ash and Go can fly to every region every fucking day. It doesn't matter what the
on an all expense paid on an all expense paid study abroad trip. And then and even in before then, back when Ash was on Journeys all the way up to X and Y, Ash and the others could just travel. Brock would be like, we need to go to the store to get like supplies. I'm like, well, what money? Y'all don't get money from Pokemon battles like in the game. So what budget are y'all on? Your mom's credit card? I don't like. I don't get it.
That Peter Gym credit, bro.
The Peter Gym credit. Yeah, so they would just go on and do that. Wow. Masap is fast. Literally a Nurse Joy black and white photo of going fuck with them wild Pokemon. So quick. I'll send it to you after actually I'll send it to you in your DMs right now. But yeah, like that's one of the things I appreciate though, is like I'm really starting to feel like I'm learning more about this world and like and what it is how Pokemon interact. Let me ask this, Zach. Do you have any major criticisms on the series thus far? Just And then obviously I know you and I we'll be constructive with ours. Mine are mean, but they're constructive. But do you have any constructive criticisms or things that you think the series could definitely use in order to improve as of right now? Obviously, we're 10 episodes in. It's very soon, but what are your constructive criticisms?
I guess what I will say pretty early on, it's still pretty early, so things could change.
Yeah, obviously, right.
I feel like, so you addressed one of the things. Maybe it's a nitpick, maybe it's not, I don't know. But the fact that they haven't caught any Pokemon. I get that they're beginner trainers and everything. So they just want to focus on the relationship of Liko and Sprigatito and Roy and Fuecoco. But I feel like you gotta catch some more Pokemon. Like I'm gonna get tired of just watching Sprigatito battle all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think the reason that I want them to catch Pokemon so badly, and yes, somebody brought it up. May caught Wurmple in like episode 14. Fine, but I think at the same, didn't Ash catch Tailo way sooner than that?
Tailo and Trico.
Yeah, he caught Tailo and Trico. I've been seeing Sprigatito and Fuecoco do most of the fighting. I don't care. You can give Roy a Nimble, that little cricket. You can give Liko a Scatterbug. I don't care. I just want to see another Pokemon.
Yeah, just to just add more to the battles, like just you know, another element instead of just Fuecoco singing to use Ember again and stomping Tantrum. Like they're starting to get new moves, which is cool, but it's like it's gonna get repetitive. You know what I mean? Like even Ash, the longest it took him to catch a new Pokemon was in Journeys episode 10. But like most of the time, like by episode 5, he'd have like 1 or 2 new members. You know what I mean? Just to kind of spice things up so battles don't feel repetitive. But that's like a little nitpick. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like I guess another thing too is I feel like I like the story-driven narrative. I like the whole thing of figuring out the pendant and finding Rayquaza. I just hope it's not like we're just gonna look for Rayquaza, but there's nothing like tangible really to show.
Yeah.
It's just like we're going from place to place, and eventually we'll find it. You know what I mean? But thankfully, I feel like that is that criticism is putting to ease a little bit with this most recent episode. Even though you don't like the fact that there's an extra Pokeball, but I feel like that gives us something,
right? At
least to know, okay, we're getting closer to something. If maybe Roy and Liko are gonna have to find more of these, and it'll eventually lead them to Rayquaza. It's just at least something to show, like tangible growth, instead of just continuing to just travel aimlessly without knowing when exactly where. Because like I said, it's almost a double-edged sword. It's like it's a benefit to the series, but also a little bit holds it back of like,
right,
it's not following the game storyline. When it did do that, the anime did follow the game storyline. You could track the progression. You know, okay, we're in this location in the games. We know what's coming next. We know where it's building towards. But because this isn't a game storyline, it's like, all right, we don't know exactly what's gonna happen. So they need something to show like the progression. And I let it slide a little bit now just because I feel like right now it's mostly just the introduction to Liko, Roy, the Rising Voltaclers, and showing their development. This really just feels like the foundation. It's laying down the groundwork and bedrock to build everything else later, which is why Liko got the 3 episodes, Roy got the 3 episodes. We're getting the dot build up and stuff, and they're learning how to battle. So I hope we get past this introductory phase. Like even though they've kind of passed it already, but it still feels like they're in the introductory phase. It
Absolutely.
just got to Paldea. So I'm hoping things start to like pick up a little bit once maybe that next Explorers guy, admin, comes in. Maybe we'll start to get a little more deeper, and they'll realize, hey, we got to catch more Pokemon. But other than that, I think it's pretty fine. I can't really. It's a really strong start. I think these are some of the strongest like first episodes out of like any series period by now, and any other series, XY, Diamond and Pearl definitely, but like any other series, we would have gotten some pointless fillers by now, at least like 1 or 2. Even the best series has its filler by like episode 10 or 11, but this one, it feels like everything is just there's a purpose to everything so far.
This is a side note question. Do you think there's enough Rising Voltacler members, or do you expect at least 1 or 2 more?
It'd be interesting to see.
Because, I mean, Amethio is on, like, that weird teeter line that he may wind up converting into one.
That's the only thing.
That's the one everybody's, like, cool. Banking. Everyone's banking on that one.
That would be cool, but I feel like there's enough right now, because I feel like...
It's a pretty hefty crew, yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like you'd run the risk of, like, having too many people, and then it'd run into the problem that I had. Well, not the problem, the worry that I had, that it'd, like... nobody would get enough screen time.
Right.
But I feel like right now they've been doing enough. And I mean, if you think about it, technically Ludlow isn't doing anything, and that's he's such a weird anomaly. I'm fine with him not doing anything. It's funny, but if it's like somebody's not doing anything because they're overcrowded, then that's the problem. I feel like that's the joke with Ludlow. He's just the old man who's air fishing and dropping the occasional bars like
right. Drop a bar.
Like, which I do appreciate. It's like he doesn't do anything, but he always be dropping like the little words of wisdom, like these little poems that kind of relate to like the overall theme and like lesson of the episode, like especially in the Dot episode, or like even in the one where Liko goes to her father, like he kind of says something in the beginning of the episode that kind of relates to like the whole lesson that Liko was trying to learn of, like, you know, speaking up and being honest with yourself and go, like, I like that. It's funny.
Right. Yeah. I want in this series, since they have such a large crew, I want them to do exactly what they did in the previous episode. I want episodes with Liko, Roy, and some other crew member, and divvy it up. Please don't have these two glued at the hip. You did a good job with it in episode 7. Don't glue these two at the hip. I want episodes with, maybe you can have an all girls episode, Liko, Orla, and Molly, or have a an all dudes episode. Roy, they came close. They came close to that, actually, where Murdoch and Freed are in the kitchen, and they're chilling because they're waiting for the snacks to open up the snack drawer. And Roy looks inside the window, and Freed looks at him right in the window, like creeps in, like they make eye contact, and he's like, "Go to bed." All right. Bruh, no, go to sleep. That was cool. But I like moments like that, but I want them to have episodes like that too. Like have a dude's day or have a girls episode. Like I think that would be nice. We all know there's going to be some expected ones. There's going to be like when Dot finally comes out of her shell, right? But the girl's got to do a makeover. Oh they're going to do it. Come on. They're going to do it.
I hope not, bro.
They're gonna. It's a Pokemon. First of all, it's Pokemon, and it's an anime. They're going to do that episode. When Dot finally comes out, Liko's gonna be like, can you see?
You can look better. Like,
yeah, can you see with your hair being in front? She's like, I don't care about combing or brushing my hair. Well, let's do it. And they played like the dun dun dun, and then like they comb it and try all these stupid ass outfits. And they play like like, go back to normal. Yeah, go back to normal. Yeah, they'll do it. The beach episode with Molly and Orla. Hey, chill out.
Yo, it's a kid show, bro.
Zach, can we talk about Orla? Is it too late for that? You and I thought the same thing when we saw her eye catch picture. I
was like, hey, whoever's animating Orla, good job. They know who this show is for. They know who's watching. They aren't just watching this.
Right. So, as far as me with criticisms, I want them to really play around with the characters. That's my biggest thing. Is I don't want them to feel like they need to rush, because I feel like right now, they're doing okay, but unfortunately the community is doing that thing. You know, they do this every time where one series will get a lot of flack at first, and then after a while it gets like praise, like it was the best thing ever. Oh my god. Like they did that in Journeys all the time, where like nobody really liked Sophocles, but when Sophocles made his return in Journeys, everybody suddenly liked him. And he was best son, and he was best son in Moon Boy. And I'm like, get out of here! Y'all didn't care about no damn Sophocles until he was gonna show up. Fuck y'all.
Yo, actually, little side tangent. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How, like, out of all the Sun and Moon characters, the one who got their own dedicated episode was Sophocles. Come on, man. Who was writing this shit, bro?
It does weird me out that he's the only one.
Like, out of all the ones, not Kiawe.
I never thought about it until right now.
Sophocles. It's like, bro, okay.
Lily got hers, but it was required. Like,
yeah, that was like necessary.
Right. But yeah, like, with the Horizons, I just want them to take their time. I hope they don't give into the numbers. I hope the ratings, because this show is rated lower, sadly. It's rated lower right now because a lot of the Ash fans dropped off. A lot of people used Pokemon Horizons as their way to go, oh, well, since Ash is no longer here, I don't have to stick around anymore because I've stuck with him for 26 years. And that's a good and a bad thing. Some people, I get it. Some people can outgrow something and not like it anymore. You're free to do that. That's absolutely fine. Some people are on the opposite side, though, and are bashing Journeys just simply because Ash isn't in it. Are you going to watch Horizon? Not Journey, sorry, Horizon. Are you going to watch Horizons? No. Do you like, but you said you don't like Horizons. I don't like Horizons. You don't like a show you didn't watch? No, why? Ash ain't in it. Well, come on. That means you didn't even give it a chance.
I hate that. Like you said, I get it. You know, there's an attachment to Ash. I have the attachment too. Like,
yeah.
But I'm a Pokemon fan, and it's like if I like the Pokemon anime,
right,
I'm gonna like this to some degree. I at least give it a chance. I get it. Maybe you won't like Liko and Roy, and it just feels weird. But like to just straight up just be like, no, I don't like this because Ash is not in it, bro. Yeah. It's like, do you like Pokemon or do you just like Ash?
Like, you know, and that's okay. Like, be honest at least. Be at least honest as to why you're doing this. Don't lie to yourself and say like, all of Pokemon is bad when Ash leaves. That's disingenuous to Pokemon. If you want to just watch, and the Ash episodes aren't down, like they're not unavailable. You can still watch Ash's episodes on like Pokemon TV and stuff like that, or on Netflix if it's still there.
There's over 1,000+ episodes of Ash.
Yeah,
if you really miss Ash, just watch him again, bro.
Literally. But we've seen the viewer count for Horizons is starting off low, but I hope that doesn't make them desperate. I hope that doesn't make Horizons desperate, and I really hope they don't bring Ash back as like as a viewer desperation move. No,
that's my concern.
No, like, that's my criticism. Yeah,
I expect him to come back, but like,
no, I don't want him at all. Don't keep him away.
They gotta.
No, if you gotta bring him for an OVA or something that's not connected to the series, but do not bring him back in the show.
I feel like if they are to bring him like back, the smart thing to do is save him for like the very end, for like an episode or two. Once the whole series has made a name for itself, established itself, we're reaching the end. Okay, cool. We have a fun episode, bringing back an old character you love. But like, my worry is that they bring him back like in less than a year or so.
The Ash Ketchum arc.
Like, no, the Ash Ketchum arc.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like for like a marketing standpoint, like money making standpoint, it just makes sense to do it. But it's like, hold out. You know, I like what they did with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
I was just about to say Yu-Gi-Oh!
Episode 1, and he came out at the end. That was perfect. It's a nice way to bridge the series, and you know, people who got the attachment. But you know, Jaden has his own story, and he stands out on his own. You know what I mean? You know,
you just brought up that Yu-Gi-Oh! GX thing, and I knew one of us was going to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He showed up at the first episode and the final episode. If Pokemon Horizons is going to do that, then I want them to make a parody Ash Ketchum, like a kid that looks weirdly like him.
A kid who's like a fan of the world champion Ash, but it's not.
He's got like the zigzags and everything. He's called like Brash Lechum or something. Like he's very clearly not Ash Ketchum, but he's a very funny parodied clone. I think that would be great.
He uses a Palmy instead of a Pikachu.
Yeah. But yeah, like another thing I'm wanting. This is what I'm wanting. I want a movie with these guys. I want a movie with this crew. I feel like we need to bring movies that happen in the series back. Because I liked when Pokemon had movies where you could see the cast. It makes me upset that we never got a Sun and Moon movie with the cast.
Don't get me started with
that. I feel like a movie for them would have been good, but instead we wound up getting Marshadow or some shit. I don't know.
We're like in this weird phase where I feel like just Pokemon movies just kind of died because of like they had a good stretch because I feel like I liked when the movies connected to the show, like the original like I want to say 5, they all were heavily connected to the series. But I feel like as time went on, maybe it's because of like a weird continuity thing or just consistency thing, it was just kind of weird to kind of time it out like when did Ash's adventure, because I think when the Diancie movie came out, they fucking spoiled Fletchender's evolution.
Oh yeah.
Didn't evolve it by that point. Like when the anime aired, the movie came out like 1 week. There's a fucking Fletchender, but that hasn't happened in the anime yet. But I like probably movie scheduling and shit like that. So maybe to avoid that, that's why they went with like the I Choose You route, where they could do their own story. It's Ash, but it's a different Ash, and have their own singular stories. But I feel like after the pandemic, like it just movies like kind of died, because it really feels like nowadays, at least, the movies just feel like promotion for the mythicals.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Like,
yeah, they're to sell the mythicals.
Exactly, but if nobody's going to theaters because of the pandemic, it's
Yeah.
like, well, there's no point. That's why there hasn't even been that many mythicals in the games lately, when you think about it, because there's no movies.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it would be cool to have a movie with them, whether it's like a one-off thing or something directly connected. It would be cool, but I just think it's very unlikely, because like they just don't care about movies anymore, and they don't really care about mythicals either. They're all just DLC if they want to do new Pokemon these days.
The reason I'm pressing for a movie so hard for this series specifically too is because this is the series where they prove if they get assigned to do a mission or like a job, they can just go to the airship and do the job. All it takes is, hey, we're on a mission in order to find this treasure out here in this area. They go out and that's a whole movie adventure right then and there. Like that, that's just a movie. I honestly wouldn't mind the Chinese quartet Pokemon, Ting Lu, Pinchao, those four, Chi. I would not mind a movie for them because their distribution in the game is horrible. It's a hide and seek mission for stakes. Like, I don't care. Give me a movie. Like, a movie would be great for them. I think a movie for them would be really good. I'm sure we're gonna get a what's that thing called? Not Terapagos, the other one, or Ogrepon. I'm sure we're gonna get an Ogrepon and Terapagos arc for the anime, but I would not mind a Chinese quartet movie. That would be cool. That would be really cool. But other things with Horizons, I'm just hoping that they don't feel like they need to rush. I like I said, I made the joke about catching the Pokemon thing, but that's obviously because I just want to see the roster a bit more colorful. But I hope they don't feel like they're going to have to rush, because once they rush, they're going to start getting sloppy. We're going to reach moments where, like, you know how Spriggs and Fuecoco are training with Pikachu and slowly battling to get stronger? We're going to get from that to them being, like, boostishly overpowered, and Spriggs is going to be able to fight, like, legendary Pokemon or something. The Grookey effect. Okay. We're going to get the Grookey effect from Journeys, where I can use Woodhammer on Kyogre on some dumb shit.
What I will say, I feel like the anime is in a very interesting position where they've never really been in before, because I feel like the problem with like previous series, they always run into this problem, whether they take their time or they start out doing things too much, like you said. That's where you get to that weird section where they start having fillers, because like, oh, we moved up a little bit too fast, but the series ain't technically gonna be over yet. But I feel like a lot of it is also dependent on the games, because the anime always has to coincide with the game's release. It was like a week or so removed from the game's release. So like that was like the problem with XY. They were doing their story, they were doing their thing, and then it's like, oh shit, Generation 7 next year, a couple of months or something. You gotta wrap it up, boy. Which is why the Kalos League suffered big time.
Yeah.
Every series, and that's why the Lily and Mon storyline got scrapped, because Gen 8 was coming and they couldn't get that done in time. So it's like, but this is the first series where in a long time, I think, where they aren't really tied to the games, and obviously that's due to like the delays that Journeys had. But it's interesting. They weren't tied to Scarlet and Violet. They started in their own time in the April of 2023.
Right.
So like they're not tied to the game specifically. So I hope that means that like
the game's just a template.
Yeah, I hope it's not like when we get Gen 10, it's all right, we gotta wrap up Horizons. If they're not done, then don't finish. Right. You know, take your time. Like, if there's still more to do to get that satisfying finish, take your time and extend it a couple of weeks. They already did that with the Generation 8 anime. So, like, I really hope that it's not like that. Because, like we've been saying, it's like, they've been starting slow, which is good. But, like, it might be a problem if, like, the animation studio's like, oh, shoot, we have Generation 10 coming, new Pokemon, we gotta make a new anime. You kind of took your time in the beginning, but now we need you to wrap it up. And it's like, that's where the bullshit comes in, you know?
Right, definitely. And I mean, with Nemona's existence, and Brassius, I guess, with Nemona's existence, they've already proven that like Arven can show up. And if Arven can show up, that means Sada and Toro can show up. And that plot in and of itself, that arc's gonna be wild. That arc's gonna be wild. Area Zero in this show, whoo! That's gonna be insane. Oh man, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be hype.
Same. I really hope. I don't think they're gonna skip it. I feel like they have to do it to some degree, especially like literally the first thing you see when you see Paldea is the big ass crater. You can't ignore that. You gotta do something. You gotta touch on Area Zero to some degree. You know.
Okay, so Joanne asked the question. I think this is for both of us. It's highlighted as me, but I'll ask you too. What do you think of the concept of unofficial gym battles? Because Roy's battle against Brassius was unofficial. I mean, gym battles without a badge at stake.
It's fine as long as like give us a good battle that shows some growth and progression. That's part of the story. I don't mind. If anything, maybe Roy isn't collecting the gym badges, but it'll still be cool just so we can see some of the other characters from the games just fleshed out in the anime.
It gives us a chance. Pokemon. It gives us a chance to know how purely powerful the gym leaders are now without having to. In the video games, we were either weaker than them or dangerously overpowered. There was no real in-between. And we needed it to complete the game. Like, we needed to do that in order to beat the game. So where now, in an unofficial gym battle, anything can happen. Roy can win or he could lose. Liko could probably challenge a specific gym leader because she just wants to fight that one and not Roy. Anything can happen. So that means now we have the freedom of not knowing. And it makes the gym leaders seem competent now. Because again, with Ash, we loved Ash and his series. And if a gym leader was strong and he lost, we knew eventually he has to challenge them again and beat them. Almost an episode after, usually. Where it's like, okay, if he lost, it means he got to fight him again. There's no choice. Where now, we don't know what's going to happen. There could literally be a gym leader that curb stomps Liko and makes her rethink her whole life. Like damn. I didn't think Larry was going to do that to me. Damn. I didn't know Star Raptor was packing like this.
It's going to be rhyme. She's going to destroy Liko, but also like diss the ever living heck out of her with a rap.
Yeah.
She's going to be bullied.
She beat me in a rap battle. Then she beat me in a Pokemon battle. Then she stole everything and she stole my username on my Twitch. It's horrible. But yeah. There's something what are some things in the game that you want to see improved in the anime?
That's a good question.
I'll go first on this one just to give you time to think it over. Somebody said it before. I want Team Star a lot more. Team Star feel like they showed up at the beginning of the game. Then you beat their butts for most of the part with you doing the mob battles, which if anybody remembers that gimmick. You beat them up in the mob battles, and then you fight the leader. Rinse, wash, repeat for all of them. I really want to see them press down, not just on the admins. I mean Team Star members.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel like the problem with Team Star, I mean, I enjoyed that.
They're glued to the school.
Like, yeah, they're like not even just like the school, but they were like, because obviously that's the whole point is like the open world stuff, and they don't want you act like you might miss something, so they're forced to be in the specific bases in the region, so like they can't really be anywhere else outside.
Right.
So I see that point where like it would be cool, like with the anime you could do whatever with them. They're not just locked to these bases and the boss battle.
Right.
Like, they could be, I don't know, causing some trouble and doing shit. But the only thing is like I don't know how that worked because like this like the school thing.
Yeah. Which the school is confirmed to be the Scarlet School, by the way, which that weirds me out, but I'll get into that when I get into it.
Rest in peace, Uva Academy.
That's so unfair. You could have just made a big school and had like a Scarlet House and a Violet House.
Oh, you know, funny thing about that too, I guess this is another nitpick of the show. It's like, what was the point of like sending Liko to school in Kanto when there was literally a whole school here in Paldea? It was just that's so weird. I don't like. Fine, we're not spending a lot of time in the school, but it's like, what was the point? You literally just took everything that was established for Scarlet and Violet, but just did it in Kanto. It just bothers me, bro.
I want to tell myself Liko probably made the active choice to go to that school because she probably wanted to be away from her parents.
Yeah, that makes sense, but still, like,
it's a dumb excuse. It's just mine.
It's an in-universe reason, but it's like, bro, like, just use the school, but whatever. But
it also makes the academy seem very like, by the way, that's there.
Yeah, it's like,
go ahead.
And like it's not like it's a huge part of the game. It's just that's school. Okay, moving on. So your question is something from the games that I would like to see
improved. Yeah,
improved. I feel like, this might. I feel like it kind of goes back to the gym stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the gyms could be, not that they were handled bad. Well, fuck Gita, bro. Other than that, I feel like the Elite Four, the gym leaders, they were handled pretty well. But I think there's a cool opportunity here to like kind of like you said, show off their true strength, because we talked about how Scarlet and Violet's supposed to be open world. You can battle the gyms whatever order, but there technically is a correct order because there's no fucking level scaling.
Right.
So I think it would be really cool to fully show off you can battle these guys whenever you want, however you want. Like, I think it would be really cool if, like, Roy or Liko battle Katie later on.
Yes.
But, like, in the beginning of the game, she has like a Teddy Ursa and a what's it called? The spider Pokemon, I forgot his name.
Spidey-Ops?
Tarantula.
Oh, Tarantula. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but like, if they battle them later on, like, she has like an Ursaring, a Terrestrial Ursaring.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Like, the obviously the Pokemon trainers in the games, the gym leaders, they're locked to like whatever level they are. So the Pokemon as well, like, some of them have to be really weak, but it'll be really cool to see fully evolved Pokemon for some of the weaker gym leaders.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it would have been like if you battled them as like the 7th or the 8th.
Yeah.
I think that would be so cool.
Yeah. Look, if we're following the same pattern that happens in the anime and video games when it comes to champions, a good champion. Also, thank you, Navy, for the gift sub. A bad champion in the video games means they're a good champion in the anime. Diantha.
Crap.
So that means, under that logic, Gita is a force. A straight up force. Oh, she's gonna wreck everyone's shit, and everybody's gonna be like, she wasn't this good in the games, and I'm gonna just be grinning like, bruh. I mean, and people want that. People want us to want. That's what the anime's core job was always to do. It's one of the reasons I loved XY so much. They gave Karina a whole arc. Like, in the game, she's just, yo, hey, what's up? I rollerblade. Do you mega evolve? You don't. Well, you do now. Here's the Lucario. Bye. Like, that was her whole character in a nutshell. But in the anime, they gave her like a whole arc. She mega evolved, but her Lucario's rabid and swings Pikachu with its teeth. It's a whole deal. Where here, like, Diantha, in the video game, Diantha's so bad a preschooler could beat her if they picked up their DS. Where in the anime, she was going hard. Her and like Steven Stone were like battling off these tentacles at once, using psychic on everything. It was crazy. So Gita, under that logic, is going to be a force of nature in this show, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait. I can't wait for her to absolutely decimate the crew or help them.
Right.
Yeah,
I even liked it as well. Like, even just like little details, just more world building, more character building. Like the fact how when we got to see Brassius, he's very much like his game counterpart, but they add more. Like, we got to see where he lives. We get to see more sculptures. Like the little details of like literally all the cups and the teapot, everything he made that himself because he's an artist. That is so cool. Like, it's just like it adds more to the character that the games can't because they're just locked to this building.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm hoping that they really put emphasis on the towns they're in. Like, I don't want them to go to a town and leave almost immediately. Because unfortunately they did do it here with Artiza. They left pretty much immediately. But I want them to, once they get to like different towns and bigger towns, I want them to stay. Like, what's the town Ayano stays in? I want them to be there for like... Yeah, I want them to be there for like 2 or 3 episodes. I want that to be almost like a Nimbasa arc situation.
And they have to have an episode where Dot interacts with Iono. Like, That is like almost a given. If they don't do that is a huge
miss. Oh, a collab stream? Hell yeah. Yo, let's get the collab stream. Who would ever do a collab stream, huh? Who would do that?
So meta right there.
It is meta. Another thing. I want a tournament arc. I don't give a shit. Anybody's invited. I just want a tournament arc. That tournament arc's gonna be heated.
That's where they bring back Ash.
No. And instantly you just ruined the tournament arc. I don't want it anymore. Take it back. Fuck. But I do want a tournament arc. I think that would be cool. I think it'd be cool for Liko to enter it because it doesn't seem like something she would do at first. But she wants to learn her Pokemon a bit better, so she's doing it to enter the tournament. She doesn't even have to win the damn thing. I just want her to be in it.
See, that's why I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not doing like Naranja or Uva Academy, because like they have the Academy Aces tournament, and one of the things immediately when I played through that, I was like, yo, I want this Academy Ace tournament arc in the anime.
Oh yeah, that'll be hard. That'll be hard.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe in the future, they might, knowing Pokemon, they might wind up doing like, what was that, Twilight Wings? They might do a Twilight Wings situation where they do stuff specifically in that school. Because I feel like this school is too big to pass up. It's too big to reasonably pass up. I wouldn't even doubt if they tried to make like a spin-off Pokemon series that's literally just like school life. A school life anime. And then they make like some crossover cameo in the Horizons anime. That would actually be kind of cool. Yeah, but that's elaborate planning for literally. We're 1 year in. We're not even a full year in yet. This series, I say, estimated's got like what, 2, maybe 3 more years left before we move on to the next game. Sadly, what if Dot/Neo thing takes on Team Star? That'd be interesting. But with that being said, well, we are at about time. I think we've asked everything we've had. Do you have any closing thoughts on Pokemon Horizons as of now, Zach?
Closing her Pokemon Horizons thoughts. They are that I think, at least for a start of a series, I think it's a very strong start, very promising. I like how it's very character, very plot driven, and aside from them not catching Pokemon. It's all right. I hope it keeps going. If it keeps going the way it is, and the way I think it's going, it seems to be, like, it probably will be one of the best Pokemon series. I'll tell you right now, it's already better than Journeys.
Well,
Structurally, at least.
That's not a high bar, but all right.
It's not, but yeah, it's like, I think there's a lot of promise, and I'm looking forward to how they treat these characters, especially since the fact it's like, since I don't expect Liko and Roy to stay for Generation 10, I expect them to get swapped out for new characters. It's like, this is the best chance to see our main characters go through a lot of growth and change and go through an actual arc that has a beginning and end, as opposed to like Ash, who they couldn't never really give him a full arc because he had to keep going,
Absolutely.
I mean? I like what they're doing. Keep it up, and I guess just give us more Pokemon, please.
Would you recommend this series to someone who's never watched Pokemon before?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, because it's fresh. It's fresh.
It's fresh. Anyone can jump in. And
anyone.
If you look at it, like, the little needle thing segments are almost like tutorials for people who don't know Pokemon. It's like, oh, there's a video about how Pokemon types work and stuff like that. And it relates to the episodes. It's almost teaching new viewers and new trainers about how the Pokemon world works. So I feel like old or new, if you like Pokemon, this is a series you should watch.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. If this is probably, for those who've never watched Pokemon, this is a perfect start. This is a perfect start. I mean, Zach, I know it's gonna be weird to hear this when we hear it in the future. Someone's gonna say this is their first Pokemon series.
Oh my god.
And that's gonna be like they're gonna be like, I loved Pokemon Horizons. It was my childhood, and I'm gonna go, oh God.
Oh, bro, when someone says that, I'm gonna feel so old.
God. Damn.
10 years from
what
now.
What
the? Pokemon Horizons was my first. Oh my.
I watched that when I was a kid. Oh, you were a what? Oh. I mean, yeah, that's the future, Zach. That's what's happening. Is a new generation. Now, on the flip side, would you recommend this series? Let's say no someone's watched Pokemon all the way up till Ash ended his journey, but they didn't watch Horizons, would you recommend they jump into Horizons?
Yeah, I'd still recommend it just because I feel like I said, it's very story driven. It has a very clear narrative. I feel like even if obviously you're gonna miss Ash, but if you like Pokemon, you'll still like this. And I feel like even just comparing it to the last series, which like you said, it's a very low bar, but it's like you will see the difference in the structure. And I don't like to say it's more mature, like it's not like meant for like adults or anything, but I feel like it takes its audience a bit more seriously, where like they understand that you can follow this story. And they have a story they want to tell, and they want to pay it off right. And I feel like it would be a shame to miss this. If you're someone who's watched every series with Ash, I feel like just because I get it, Ash ain't here, but like it'd be a shame to miss out on what could potentially be a great Pokemon story just because there's a character in it that you miss. You know what I mean? I feel like you should just watch Horizons, bro. Give it a chance. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but don't say you don't like it because Ash isn't in it.
Yeah, I will say this. And for those who've watched Pokemon, left Pokemon, then came back to Pokemon and was like, should I watch Horizons? To me, I say watch the first 6 episodes. I think 6 episodes should be the demo trial. The reason I say 6 is because it gives you Liko and Roy, the 2 main characters in the series, and it gives you an idea of what is going to be going on from here on then. If you don't like it after 6 episodes, don't stress yourself with this. But if you do, definitely keep going with it because honestly, it has. I believe with the new series comes oodles of potential. I think that's a reasonable answer. I tried my best to make an answer that doesn't seem like it's like just pandering because this is a fresh, shiny new thing. But at the same time, I wasn't trying to think of an answer that's like, let's bash this because it's not what we grew up with. This is to me, give it the first 6 episodes, because realistically, we know this isn't going to be it for everybody. It's not. It really isn't. Some people have already went on to say like, the tone is a bit more serious than Pokemon. I was like, it's Pokemon. What are you talking about? One time Ash died on a boat. Remember? In the first episode, he got shocked by lightning.
I feel like that's the thing with like the Pokemon anime. Like I feel like post Gen 4, every series has kind of had its own flavor, its own style, and it's like ever since then, it's like not every series is for everyone. There's a reason why there's always debates about which is the best series and which series people like. It's like it's not for everyone. So it's like I like that response. It's like give it a try, watch the introduction. If you're interested in these characters, you want to see where it goes, then keep watching. If you don't, if you're not really feeling it, then don't force yourself to watch it. But at least give it a chance.
Yeah, at least give it the college try, because you're like that's where the discourse is, I believe, is starting, is obviously because Ash isn't in it. Pokemon is like, I even saw those dumb articles that show up on like social media pages or on news feeds where it's like, is Pokemon over? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's Pokemon. Pokemon has more life than any human on this planet currently. I believe when the Earth blows up, I'm sure Pokemon's brand is going to be on Venus or some shit. I don't. Pokemon can outlive us all 4 times over.
We're going to imprint Pikachu's face on the moon.
It'll be a matter of time. It'll be a matter of time. Don't you worry. But, well, give it the chance. So far, I just can't wait to see what the rest of the series has in store for us. But, with that being said, if you like the content that Zach and I have given you today, obviously, make sure to follow Zach on his YouTube channel. This man is talent beyond. Dude's been doing Pokemon Horizon reviews pretty much every week around the time the episodes come out. And he's got a bunch of other stuff. I got into Zach when I was watching his League reviews. That's when I started watching his stuff. And honestly, it's been great content. It's consistent content, too. Zach, well, yeah, of course, man. Of course, obviously. Yeah, you know, with the way that content creation has gone, it's so amazing to look at Pokemon, no matter what series we're in, and realize how it's brought us all together as people. I saw Terrell. You brought up Terrell earlier. I saw Terrell a long time ago. Never thought that's like my bro now. It's so crazy. I'm like, I looked at your videos when I was like young, and I watched them, and now him and I are either super linked up or we're arguing about some stupid bullshit. The power of Pokemon. And then obviously, and then obviously you and I have crossed over on more than one occasion too. Like, the Pokemon is just crazy on no matter what series it is.
Yeah, it has the power to bring people together. That's probably one of the best parts about it.
Yeah, your group's got people from like other countries and stuff in it. The pod does too. It's international. It's so crazy. And that too, we got the pod and the champions pod. Like, we've got all these different groups now, and like we did that giant crossover. And I'm thinking maybe in the future we want to probably do some stuff like that again.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's what, honestly, I think that's the key. Yeah, honestly, I think that was the key. Bringing, like, different groups together for stuff like that was a great way to just unite the world of Pokemon, and I love that. Or, like, when we did the Unite thing, speaking of Unite, when we won the Unites battle in Clutch, when you were on my Unites team. That was great. Yeah, that was cool. So, yeah, more stuff to come. I want to do more stuff like that. And obviously, Zach, I know you got a lot of stuff in store for your viewers, which is why I put the link for your channel in the chat. Make sure to go check this man out, Lumio's trainer, Zach, if you haven't already. If you're curious about the Pokemon Horizons series or just the Pokemon battles, leagues, and episode reviews in general, go check out his channel for those things. But thank you, Zach. I really appreciate it, man. It's been a great 2 hours.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me and letting me just sit here and just talk Pokemon anime.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we both enjoy, and that's what we came to talk about. I wound up reviewing this series. This is the most petty reason. I reviewed this series because Ash wasn't in it. It's a dumb reason, I know, but I wanted to give it, like you said, give it a chance. I wanted to give it the chance, and I did, and I was reviewing the series, and I'm just like, it's been a while since I've reviewed. I haven't reviewed a series on my YouTube channel since XY. Let me go ahead and crack open the Horizons thing. And I even did a skit that technically has you in it. You're not in it vocally, but you're mentioned in that one.
I am referenced. I'm part of the universe.
Yeah, you're part of the universe, as like the crew should have hired you to review the series instead of me. So we might play around with some silly stuff like that in the future. But with that said, Kuro says we had 70 viewers max for this. That's crazy. That's consistently, that would be YouTube partner levels of viewers. That I want to thank you guys so much. And we had tons of followers too, by the way. Huge shout out to Marco, Ghost Infinity, O'Reilly Master, Math, Anthony, Serpa, Bocred. I think it's Bocred. I'm sorry if I botched it. Before Bam, Siva Shanker, like Ash Greninja, Zach. Satoshi Gikoga. Let's go. And Monster Zero, Blaze, a bunch of people. Ty. I said thank you to some of you guys in the chat while Zach was talking. I would type to you guys. Thank you. So if I missed anybody, I do apologize. Obviously, stick around for more content that we'll have. KG and I will actually be doing some stuff tomorrow. So make sure you guys go check that out. And then on Wednesday, we'll be doing hop into the Dragon Ball universe by doing Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. If you want to join in for any of these, Zach, let me know. You're definitely more than capable of joining my other shenanigans. Obviously, I don't just do Pokemon. You can join my other stuff.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on Friday, if you guys haven't already, make sure you join the Discord server. We'll be doing some Pokemon Scarlet and Violet shenanigans, Terra raids and whatnot. If you join the Discord server, then you'll be able to catch them in real time. With that being said, though, again, we're going to end it off here. Thank you so much, Zach. I appreciate you all in the chat. I hope you guys have a great day. Later tonight, make sure to Cake Man. Yeah, I am sorry you're late, but that's okay. You can watch the playback when the stream is over. You can watch the playback. And for those of you all who are scared that this is only going to be on Twitch, don't fret. This will also be on my YouTube channel as well, so you'll be able to catch it on YouTube as well. So make sure you also follow KG Prestige. Later tonight, we're going to be doing the Pokepod, where we talk about the latest in Anti-Poke as well as anime, video games, movies, and other media shenanigans. And then we'll be doing the review of the episode 11 of Pokemon Horizons. So, With that being said, everybody, thank you guys so much. Have a great day, a great night, a great afternoon, a great whatever have you. And you all have a great one. So, TG3 out. If you want to know where most of my time is spent, head on over to my Twitch channel to watch me stream games on Tuesdays through Thursdays, as well as Saturdays and Sundays. Also, be on the lookout on the Pokepod, a podcast stream on my friend KG Prestige's channel, as we discuss the latest Pokemon anime episodes, as well as anime, manga, video games, and other fun topics. That's it. Go do those other things. This video's over.